Alrighty, so we are live. Tonight is a fun night. This is a celebration night because we are celebrating the 6-year anniversary of Guardians of the Galaxy. I cannot believe it's been 6 years. Man, 6 years ago in the MCU, we were still in phase 2. Iron Man was still alive. We didn't know about the mystery of Nick Fury's eye missing. So, I mean, a lot has changed in the MCU and a lot has changed in this world that we're currently living in as well. But we are here to celebrate this film by James Gunn and the amazing group of misfits of the Guardians of the Galaxy. But I couldn't do this by myself. I have my own kind of Guardians with me tonight. Very excited. We got some newcomers on the channel, some people I've been interacting with on Instagram and YouTube. So very excited to have this incredible panel with me tonight. But before we introduce the wonderful Guardians of the Galaxy, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the algorithm, and also I really appreciate it. And if you guys want to, there are super chats available. So any questions you have for myself or the panel, by all means, you could definitely do that. But the best thing you can do for this video, give it a thumbs up. So with that being out of the way, I'm going to introduce my panel one by one. Say hi to everybody. They're going to tell you a little bit about their channels and all that fun stuff. So starting off with someone that is new to the channel, but I've been on a panel with her before, and we actually have a couple watch-alongs planned with Miss Filmingo. What is going on? How are we doing tonight?
Hello. Hi, everybody. This is Miss Filmingo over here, but you can call me Kristen. So
awesome, Chris. I'm so glad to have you on tonight. If you want to tell the people a little bit about you and where they can find you, a little bit about your channels, your Instagrams, your YouTubes, the stage is yours.
Yes, currently I have no YouTube channel at the moment, but you can follow me on Instagram at Miss Filmingo, and you can also follow me on Twitter. That's at KFilmingo, and I just post a bunch of movie reviews, and I just recently started ranking movies. So yeah, go follow me there, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. Excited to be here with you tonight and talking Guardians. Was that two Guardians characters?
Yes, actually, I brought up my Guardian stuff. I have a little rocket over here, and I got my Groot over here, and I had to represent with my buttons, if you can see.
Awesome. Repping the Guardians.
Repping that merch.
Awesome. And I mean, Baby Groot was before Baby Yoda. So,
yeah.
The cuteness started with Baby Groot from my eyes. But another gentleman that I've been, watching his videos for a while. He's such great energy, has a lot of great takes on movies. He's a big Marvel fan as well, and that is Trevor. What's going on, man? How we doing tonight?
What's going on, guys? Thanks so much for having me. If we're showing Groots, bro, I got a little thing from Mexico, a little baby Groot right there, man. My name's Trevor. I'm from the Film Geeks YouTube channel. I talk about movies. I've been recently getting into Netflix. Elliot got me on Umbrella Academy, so I've been binging through that. And you can find me on Twitter over at TrevSandra1 and on Instagram at TrevorSandral. And dude, I'm very happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
No doubt, man. Yeah, Umbrella Academy, my friend. I love that show.
Oh, dude, it's so good. I can't get enough.
Yeah, man. It's if you guys haven't already, definitely check that out. But we're watching another team of kind of misfits tonight with the Guardians.
Exactly.
But yeah, Umbrella Academy is dope. But another gentleman that I have been in contact with for quite a few years on the Instagrams. He's on YouTube. He has a lot of great rankings, a lot of great lives. I'm talking about the one and only Chris from Filmstock. How we doing, Chris?
What's going on, everybody? Elliot, this is an honor because I've known you, like you said, for a couple years on Instagram now. Yep. And finally getting to be on a watch along with you really is an honor. You can find me here on YouTube at Filmstocked, on Instagram at Filmstocked. I'm really active on Letterboxd as well at Filmstocked. My name, Chris, will pop up. I've got a lot of ranking videos on my channel, and I'm not into the Netflix stuff as much. I save that for people like Elliot, who are the real grinders. But I do like Marvel, Harry Potter, Star Wars, all that. So I'm pumped to be here, and I love the Guardians. So I'm ready to do this thing.
Awesome, man. Again, yeah, this has been a long time in the makings with me and Chris here. Excited to have him on. The next gentleman, I've actually had the pleasure to be on his podcast, him and Colin's podcast, who's going to talk about here in a bit. But this guy has a lot of great reviews, has his own great rankings, great lives, just a great guy altogether. I'm talking about Ryan O'Toole. What's going on, Ryan?
What's going on, everybody? Elliot, this is an honor to be on your channel, man. I'm so excited to be here, joining you guys as well, watching Guardians of the Galaxy for like the 20th plus time. So this is exciting for me. If you guys want to find me on YouTube, very easy, Ryan O'Toole, my name. And I also have a Twitter at Ryan O'Toole MR. You can follow me on Facebook, even though I don't post a lot on there, Ryan O'Toole Movies. Instagram, Ryan O'Toole Movies. And I also have a Letterboxd as well, Ryan O'Toole Movies, where I post reviews and stuff like that. Also have a podcast, like Elliot mentioned, the Fallen for Film podcast. Chris has been on there. Trevor and Miss Flamingo, we got to get you guys on there as well. And yeah, it's very exciting to be here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm very excited to talk Marvel with you all tonight. Talk about your favorite Guardians in the group. Who do you resonate with the most? What are you looking forward to seeing in a Guardians 3? We're going to have a lot of great conversations. There is one more person we're waiting for. I think he's getting his internet and everything situated, but we'll bring him in a little bit. But before we kind of get started, we're going to get this thing started probably in about 5 minutes. But just kind of going around the table, Miss Flamingo, just tell me a little bit about your love for the Guardians. You know, what was your first thoughts when you heard that Marvel was going to make a movie about a talking tree and a talking raccoon, and just kind of your feelings on Guardians?
Well, I remember like hearing about it, but I didn't know really nothing too much about the Guardians. I was a Marvel fan, so I didn't know what to expect going in. I remember even seeing the premiere trailer like on Jimmy Kimmel when he like aired it on TV. So I was like, this is something I'm going to probably be really interested in.
Right.
And I went into like premiere night, you know, that Thursday night showing at 7:00. Went in, loved it. And the whole movie has stuck with me since. And it's probably like in my top 3 favorites. And it's such a great film with the cast, the direction, everything that you probably love about Marvel and just film in general. It's just a fun movie you can go back and rewatch.
No doubt. I mean, some may say it's the Star Wars of the MCU, and posing the same question to you, Chris, in regards to, again, at this point of the MCU, this is phase 2. So we've already gotten 2 Iron Mans, 2 Cap films. We got 2 Thors, we had 2 Avengers, and now we got these Guardians of the Galaxy. So tell me a little bit about what you were thinking going to the Guardians, and kind of what you like about this group of misfits.
Yeah, so I remember I saw Winter Soldier in theaters. That also came out in 2014. It was earlier in the year. And they played the Guardians trailer, I want to say, before that. And I was with my friends who I see all the Marvel movies with at the time. And I was like, that looks very bizarre. I'm not sure if that's going to work. Very interesting soundtrack. And then I went into the movie, I guess it was 6 years ago today now, and absolutely loved it. Had a blast. Immediately downloaded the soundtrack onto my phone. Been listening to it ever since. And this is just probably Marvel's biggest risk, and it paid off. It's fan favorites now, and I do love this movie. I can't wait to rewatch it. It's been too long.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's something definitely to keep in mind when it comes to just the risk taking, because obviously with Marvel, they have a formula to them. But like Chris said, man, if without this movie popping the way it did, we might not have seen a Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, especially the Eternals and Shang-Chi and all the stuff we'll talk about a little bit later. But same question to you, Ryan, in regards to just what you were thinking when you first saw the trailer. Were you excited for it? And kind of tell about your love for the Guardians, man.
All right, so 2014, this is when I started going to the cinemas. Winter Soldier inspired me to start my YouTube channel, or basically reviewing movies altogether. I was blown away by that movie. And then I saw the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm like, what is going on here? A ragtag group of misfits, a talking raccoon in a tree? I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But I had to see it because it's Marvel. I've always loved Marvel and didn't know the comics, didn't read them. And I walked out of that theater opening night just blown away. And then I saw it like 3 or 4 times opening weekend. It was crazy. Loved everything about the movie, the characters, the casting. It's just perfection. And just like Chris said, I downloaded the soundtrack immediately and was obsessed with it. So,
yeah, the soundtrack is awesome. And this cast, man, we'll talk about the cast when we get the film started. But again, you think of just the Marvel way of just kind of casting, how everything kind of comes together. You bring in a James Gunn, who at that point only directed like small independent horror films and a couple comedies. So I don't know, man. It's just that Marvel magic, right, when it comes to these films. So
yeah,
we're going to get this thing started here, guys, in a bit. We're still waiting on one more guest, but if he pops in, we'll go ahead and introduce him to the panel and everything. But we'll go ahead and get it started, guys. So what I'm going to do is, for those watching at home now, those watching on the replay, I'm going to bring up a little timer throughout the stream so you guys can know where we're at. Let me pull it up here. And ready. We'll get this started on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, pressing play now. And of course, Maya says, do you want to start off where you last left off?
Mine did too.
There we go. All righty, guys. So we are getting this bad boy started. One of the memorable opening scenes, and we also see that scene in a later film in what was it, Endgame. So this is one of my favorite. Well, before we get to that scene, one of the more emotional scenes of any MCU film, in my opinion. It's just heartbreaking seeing Peter Quill and his mom. 19. Oh, here we go. MidLevelMedia, what's going on, Ken?
Hey, what's up, guys? My first time using Streamlabs, so yeah.
Oh,
what's going on, man?
What's up?
Man.
Yeah, what's up?
No worries. Hey, we got the movie started, Ken, but if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the panel, to the audience, let them know where your channel is, what you're about, talk about you and Levels of Geek. So the stage is yours, man.
All right, man. Yeah, I'm Mid-Level Movie Reviews on Instagram. That's pretty much where I got started. I review movies on there. I also have another Instagram account, MidLevelMedia, where I show off like my Blu-ray collection and do announcements on upcoming Blu-rays. And I also have a YouTube channel that I started this year that kind of focuses on physical media and reviewing that and breaking news stories on announcements for that as well. And I'm one half of the Levels of Geek that goes live on Monday and Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, man. Awesome. So you got your Avengers posters in the background too, man. Ready to go.
Yeah, man. I had to get my Avenger poster up. I had to have some kind of a background.
There you go. Yeah, instead of for me, I'm always, if you guys ever want to know, I film in a jail cell, so that's why my walls are But yeah, guys, it's this opening here, man. Again, I think of every Marvel film today. They all resonate with us in all certain ways, whether it be comedy, emotional. But this moment here, man, just kind of
soul crushing.
Sets the stage for just like something different, right? I think Chris mentioned it earlier. A lot of you guys have mentioned just like we're talking about, a talking raccoon, a talking tree. We're going to be in space, but then they hit you with more grounded stuff that we can relate to, which is we've all had someone that we've lost before or know someone that's lost someone close to them. So
yeah, true.
That just to me, that the first 5 minutes let me know that I was going to be in something completely different. And James Gunn at that point, again, he wasn't a big director, so it just kind of showed me that he's going to give us something a little bit unique and different from what we see in the previous Marvel films. So love this scene for the emotional moments for it.
Yeah.
But we got some people in the chat. Definitely don't want to neglect the people. Say what's up to everyone. We got Robert makes the cut. He's ready to go. He was in here at 6:30, lock and loaded, ready to watch this film. The 6th anniversary of one of my favorite movies ever. It's up there for me, not only Marvel films, but it's definitely one of my favorites as well. Not top like 5 or top 10, but it's definitely a film that I love rewatching. Again, you guys mentioned the score, the cast. I mean, this is definitely top notch for me as well. What else? We have Austin or August. Yes. We have Don't Like This Movie, LOL.
Wow.
LOL. Hey,
dang, man.
It's illegal. Yeah, it's illegal to not like this film. It should be a law to not, everyone should love this. Again, we got Robert. What's going on, man? We got Ryan's brother, Cody, in the chat. Have a great time, everyone.
Cody, how are you watching this, man?
We got deep into the film's core. It's again, man, it's 2014 this film came out, which is just,
I love this logo.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy how it just came out like 6 years ago. It feels actually insane, less than that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
And, I mean, it helps too that we get 2 Marvel, 3 Marvel, 4 Marvel films a year, so it makes time.
Exactly. Yeah, this movie came out when I graduated high school. This was like the year of blockbusters.
Same. Yeah, I graduated probably the same year as you, and I can't recall like a bad movie I saw in 2014 at all.
It was a great
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes,
Nightcrawler and
Whiplash.
Dawn of the Planet of
Whiplash.
Whiplash.
I know. Mid-level loves Whiplash.
Birdman.
Oh yes.
Birdman.
We're gonna detour this into a Whiplash watch along.
Whiplash.
Put that on next.
It's not my tempo.
We got Alex, the other half from Mid-Level or Levels of Geeks, 6 years. Wow, yeah, it's crazy. Glad you was able to make it tonight, Alex. We unboxing.
Not to age myself, but this movie came out 10 years after I graduated. So.
Oh.
This came out my first year of high school, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Marvel, man. Everyone, different ages, different genders, different backgrounds. We can all kind of come and these films resonate, which is awesome, man.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Fun
again-
fact about me: I did not like this movie when I first saw it.
Really?
Really?
Hey,
No,
I'm
It
the
didn't
same
do
way.
it for me. And then I
Yeah.
saw Guardians 2 with a friend,
Mhm.
and I loved Guardians.
Mhm.
I can rewatch this, and I was like, "Dang, dude, I was stupid. This is a great movie."
I didn't come around on this movie until right before Guardians 2. I didn't
Yeah.
like it that much the first time I watched
That's
it either. In fact, I don't even think I finished it. I think I fell
Wow.
asleep like halfway through
Ooh.
it. I was kind of
Yeah.
tired, but
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I was same kind of way. I was like, "What? I don't get the hype about this movie." It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm a little bored. I was like, "I'm just gonna go to bed." But then, man, dude, I was uncultured
was-
then. That's for sure.
this was a super hyped movie when it came out. Like it got 92,
Now, when I
93%
watch
on
this-
Rotten Tomato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now when I watch this, I just think of Endgame.
Yeah,
I know.
War Machine's just standing there. He's gonna punch him.
Exactly. I was about to say that.
Yeah, I think like Kim was saying, I think this film, the opening week, I'm gonna look up the box office. I believe it did
It did about
Pretty
93,
well,
I think. If I remember.
93, yeah, which is
Yeah, it did
like,
better than
incredible
Winter
for-
Soldier. Yeah.
Yeah, which for a film again where no one, and I'm a big comic guy, I knew barely, and then plus two, Marvel had. This is a fairly new kind of group in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it comes to the comics. So it was just like I didn't know a lot about these characters. So it was just like, what is this all about? But I loved it when I first saw it. I'm a big score and soundtrack guy, so that was what really stole my heart. And then just fall in love with these
Absolutely,
characters.
yeah.
At some point. And then just I'm a big Chris Pratt fan
Yeah,
too.
this introduced
Yes.
me.
Yeah,
This introduced me to Chris Pratt. I never got into Parks and Rec, but this
Okay.
introduced me.
Gotcha.
To
This essentially, like, I believe, turned him into like the box office star that everybody loves him today for. Because I mean, now
Yeah.
he's like in Jurassic World, and literally everything he touches is
Magnificent
gold.
7 remake.
Yeah,
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 I really
that's a
liked him on
great
that.
one. That's a great movie.
I
that's a
really enjoyed that
good
one.
movie.
I mean, he had, if you think about it, 2014 for Chris Pratt was pretty good. This film, Lego, and then Jurassic World.
Lego movie, yeah, that's right.
Oh,
had
he
a
is. Yeah, he's
hell of a
Emmett.
year. Yeah.
Gotta love
Yeah.
Emmett.
So that
Really
was
good
like
for
his
him.
starting. Yeah.
We got Colin in the chat. Just watched this film recently. Enjoy kids with an A+ Marvel. Yeah, this is a fun one, Colin. Glad you were able to stop by tonight,
Colin
man.
Williams, my man.
We got Film Explorer, one of the most surprising series in MCU. Yeah, I think Chris said it too earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
I
One
love
of
this
the-
opening scene.
yeah,
I love it. This is pretty much Raiders of the Lost Ark. I love
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
definitely
just
an
watched
homage to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I love the music, and that might be my favorite song off the soundtrack, honestly.
I think I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, just thinking of this
Mhm.
Chris Pratt and his
Yeah.
approach to Star Lord. If I'm not mistaken, I think he channeled his inner Han Solo meets Marty from Back to the Future, which I can definitely get those vibes from this character.
very,
For sure.
That is awesome. Yeah.
And that so Art, great question. That is a question I will pose to the panel a little bit later in regards to who's everyone's favorite Guardian, or who do they resonate with the most, or who do they compare themselves to potentially. We got certain vids. What's going on? What's up?
Certain
Guys,
vids.
today. What else do we have here? Certain Viz says, out of the ones I've rewatched, Guardians of the Galaxy is my favorite so far. Like it is even more. Oh wow, more than Winter Soldier. We'll definitely
Wait.
talk about everyone's. Like again, we'll get into our top fives and of our MCU. But
You
yeah,
did-
that's
just-
For you.
Think
Jim
about how
Armstrong,
great
he's-
of a year
Yeah.
2014 was for Marvel with this and the
Yeah.
Winter Soldier. Like two of the greatest. in the same year.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that too. That,
We're
and
forget that
and
happened.
X-Men
Days of Future Past, yeah.
And Days of
Yeah.
Future Past. Yeah. This is Marvel's year.
2014 was a phenomenal year overall. Man. Whiplash,
True,
you know,
true.
Nightcrawler. Yeah.
Oh, Nightcrawler. I always forget about that one.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Gone Girl. Gone Girl. was
Gone
pretty
And
good.
Girl,
Gone Girl,
was
yeah.
my favorite.
Birdman.
Raid
Birdman.
2. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Raid
many
2.
great
Tons of great
Yeah.
films.
man, you guys are taking me back to the time machine, back when life was simpler.
Back
2014,
when
Yeah.
we could actually go to the movies.
Yeah, really.
right?
I know, right?
Oh, John Wick came out this year too.
And John
Did
Wick.
it really? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yep.
God, 2014 is a goat right now,
It was
man.
nuts.
It is.
There was
Yeah.
a bunch. It's the best film of the decade, I think. Right?
Best year for
2019
films.
trailer and maybe closely behind.
I'm still 2019 for me, but 2014 is probably
Yeah.
second for me.
Yeah, I'll probably
2019,
go.
man. Oh, 2019 was so good. So
I do-
good.
I go
Yeah, it was.
2010. I go 2010.
2010 is a great year.
That's a great year.
2019 took a long time to get going.
2016, I also really enjoyed. 2016
also
was a good year, I think.
1999, that's a really good one too. 94.
Yeah.
Every year.
1958. It's phenomenal.
1950.
Would you guys agree with certain vids here in regards to just the kind of the comedy beats in this film being one of the more funny ones in the MCU?
Yes, I think it's definitely up there for funny.
Yeah,
I think it's the most rewatchable MCU movie.
definitely.
I-
Robert
Yeah,
4K, of course.
it's
Robert Ross in the
cute.
4K.
It's just great. The troll, the whole.
Yeah. Eve, what's going on? Eve, welcome.
Hi,
Yes,
Eve.
Parks and Rec. Yeah, Parks and Rec is where I first was introduced to the Mr. Great Chris Pratt, and then seeing him transition. I mean, I remember in the film world, I think of what was it, Wanted, and you see him in like the 5-Year Engagement. He's playing like all these secondary role characters, and I think it wasn't until what was it, Zero Dark 30 and Moneyballs when he started
Moneyball,
to get a little
yeah.
bit more
Yeah.
prestigious.
I totally forgot he was in Moneyball until like
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Until I saw like an ET segment the other day, and it was like
Mhm.
a flashback thing, and they were like Chris Pratt on like the red carpet for that premiere, and I go, "Oh my god, he was in
Yeah.
that! He's such a baby face then." And now you look at him, he's
Do you all
everywhere.
remember the Ryan Reynolds film, Just Friends? Wasn't he in that? Y'all
I
remember
don't
that movie?
remember.
I
I don't think I've seen
remember.
that.
I haven't seen that one
You
yet.
might have
Oh,
been-
Pretty
and
sure that was
we
one of
can't
his
forget
first movies.
Oh yeah, we can't forget Passengers.
that film.
Oh no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't like
That's
that.
Unfortunately, those two powerhouse actors.
Directed by I think the guy that did Defending Jacob, Morton Tillman.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, which I don't know what he was.
There was
yeah.
there were some good ideas in that film.
Yeah, I don't
Just
think that
wasn't
movie's an
executed
atrocity.
very well.
It
I don't
just,
think
I
that
don't
movie's
think
awful.
It wasn't terrible.
everything in that movie just didn't
That's
execute
so
me in the
forgettable.
right ways. In some stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
seen it once, don't want to see it again.
Fair.
Michael Rooker, love that guy. Love Yondu.
We got certain vids. I know he has a big passion for the Amazing Spider-Man.
Spider-Man,
2.
yeah.
Yeah, he does.
The Amazing
I
Spider-Man 2
I like
is
it better
just a
than the
fun
first one.
watch.
I like it better than Amazing Spider-Man.
Really?
Yes, I
Okay.
think it's better than that movie. I think it's that first. I don't really like either one of those Spider-Man movies, but
I don't like either of them.
They're very
yeah,
bland.
out of the two, I think that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is more fun.
True.
I think it's a funny watch. Like if you
Oh,
really just
kill
want to sit and just laugh at it.
Yeah.
Which actually, by the way, to all the Spider-Man fans out there, and especially to the panel, happy
Yeah.
Spider-Man Day. Today's
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Day.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
Day.
Michael Rooker, such a great
I
actor.
love Yondu. I love
Yeah,
Yondu
Yondu
so
is
much,
great.
dude. God.
He is.
I always wonder like what would happen if like Yondu was like in Infinity War, like with his like whistle and the arrow. I don't know. Yeah,
imagine
what
what
would
you
he?
do.
What would
Oh, that would have
happen,
been
dude?
great.
God, what would happen?
Thanos.
Exactly.
Thanos.
It would have been such a cool thing. All right, in the Battle of Wakanda, to see that arrow just flying
that
around,
arrow
that
go
would have been made for a
Oh my
great
God, that'd be
shot. You
amazing.
know, it'd be so good.
So
Do
now
you
we're getting
think that now that we have multiple timelines, they'll find a way to bring it back to the third one?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Um,
Honestly,
I mean,
I
at least
do.
flashbacks, at least at the bare minimum, at least flashbacks with the Yondu and the young Peter Quill, or maybe Yondu knows Adam Warlock, or maybe he knows Nova. So I'd imagine Michael Rooker and James Gunn are like best friends. So I'd imagine
Yeah.
he'll find some way
It's
to
been
bring
like in every one of his movies. hasn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now we're getting baby blue Ronan the Accuser getting his bathe on. Ronan, guys, Ronan the Accuser played incredibly. I'm a great fan. I'm a big fan of Lee Pace. I think he's a great actor. But Ronan, I think he kind of, for me at least, and I'd love to get you guys' thoughts started, Miss Flamingo. Villain wise, is he one of your favorite villains? And to me, he's kind of like in that phase 1, phase 2 kind of bunch of villains that really didn't work for me, just story wise. But what's your thoughts on Ronan the Accuser?
I think he's not too bad of a villain.
Yeah.
It's just his character didn't stick with me. I see like his intentions for what he wanted to do, but I think his performance comes off well. I think I have to commend him for that, for at least sticking to that and making it worth a little bit better. But it is better than a lot of the phase 1 villains.
Yeah.
He's better. He was better in here than he was in The Hobbit. So
Really?
I mean, Ronan's just like, he's fine, but he's not that great.
I remember.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think he's like passable.
Yeah,
Passable, yeah.
What about you, Trevor? You a big Ronan fan? Do you like Lee's face performance here?
The thing with Ronan, I think like when I first saw it, when I didn't really know about all like Thanos and everything, I was like, wow, he's really good. But like once you kind of realize more and more about him and Thanos, it just kind of seems like he's not his own villain. He's like doing what he's doing like in spite of Thanos. So that's always brought him down for me. Is like he's not really like his own villain, his own person. Like Thanos is pretty much his daddy, and he's just trying to defy him. So that's how I kind of look at it. Yeah.
No, that's a great point. I mean, same with you, Ken, in regards to just your thoughts on Ronan. Kind of does he fall into the more forgettable, like Thor: The Dark World villain, the Destroyer in Thor? Kind of where do you think Ronan kind of fits for you as far as villains go?
Well, he's no Kaliskis. I know that.
He's no
or whatever is there. No, he's fine. To me, like this movie is not about the villain. It's more about the team up and then getting together.
Exactly.
You can tell that. I mean, it's some movies that they put the villain in the focal point, and some just choose to make the heroes the focal point, which Marvel does a lot, which they've been getting better at though with their villains. But yeah, I just don't think that's what this movie's about. It's just he's a complete afterthought. So
great introduction.
He's fine. He's serviceable for what he is in the movie.
To piggyback off of what Ken just said, I mean, it's a very great point. I mean, Marvel does, especially these first early phases, it was all about the heroes. And as we kind of move forward, you get a Killmonger, a Thanos, and Vulture and all that. So, Ryan, I guess the same question for you, man. Which approach, I guess it all depends, but do you prefer, at least in the first film, the heroes having the more of the screen time, or do you like a balance of villains? Your heroes are just as good as your villains and vice versa. What's your thoughts on that?
I like a balance of both. I want to get introduced to the heroes right away first, and then you transition to the villain storyline. Whenever they focus more on the villains than the heroes, I get kind of underwhelmed by that. But if there's a good balance of both, like I want to care about the heroes more than the villains, but I also love movies where I understand a villain's viewpoint and why they're doing what they're doing. So I'm more of a hero guy, but I love the balance of both in certain movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same for you, Chris, in regards to just your, overall thoughts about Ronan. Do you feel like for this film, introducing 5 superheroes to band together, that he was okay, or would you prefer to have seen him be a little bit more prominent in this film?
I wish that he was more prominent and honestly relevant, because piggybacking off what Trevor said, he's kind of just Thanos' henchman who's doing his dirty work. And I never really got on board with that. I do agree with Ryan though, that most of this movie is about meeting the team and it's about their dynamic kind of forming a family in a sense. But the villain has always been the weakest point of this movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Right there with you. But like you all have said, collectively, it is all about the Guardians, right? I mean, it is kind of hard to introduce 6 new characters into them. Well, literally a whole universe and Xandar and everything. It's a lot to kind of pull on people.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's understandable. And I was hoping that Ronan was get a little bit more, prominent role in Captain Marvel, but that was just, to me, it was kind of wasted as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think we're going to get more of him too, because again, last time we saw Captain Marvel, she was in the 90s, and we'll probably see Ronan maybe again in the future, just between what happened between Captain Marvel and the first one, and where she's at now. We'll get a third chance for Ronan to kind of impress us.
I love this scene.
It's so good. Yeah. I'm just laughing at Bitey when she bit his finger. Bitey, that's not fair.
Biting the finger, the wrestle, Groot putting the back over.
What I always can't believe is that Bradley Cooper voices Rocket.
I know.
I'm in so much disbelief every time.
I love the behind the scenes video.
And then Vin Diesel voice.
I love that video. My favorite videos.
Just carrying him like a...
Yeah, that's such a great point, Kristen, in regards to that. Just seeing him, and again, it goes to a lot of people when it comes to voice acting. They don't get as much credit, but I mean, it just shows you the commitment, and you would never know that was Bradley Cooper if the name wasn't on the marquee. So, great casting.
True. I am adult Groot.
Adult Groot?
Like over baby Groot and teenage Groot.
Yeah, well, I think I have to agree, honestly.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how jacked he is? He's huge in this movie. Like, he's huge. Like,
yeah. Gamora, man.
Oh my god, the comedy.
I love Gamora, dude. One of my favorite MCU characters.
She's
Yeah,
great,
Gamora.
man. Yeah.
She's
She
so
gets
great.
so much better in the other movies. I just love the development of her
Yeah.
character.
I mean, we were
Yeah.
talking earlier about Chris Pratt and his kind of come up, but Zoe Saldana, man, I think she's been in like literally every big blockbuster in the last 20 years.
True.
You think of Pirates, you think of Avatar, you think of Star Trek. I'm
Star
probably
Trek.
missing some other ones.
Guardians.
But I mean, Guardians, obviously. Yeah. I mean, what a career for her, man.
John C.
I know.
Riley.
That's a making an appearance here. Yeah.
God, I never understood why John C. Riley was in this movie. I just never got it. I was like, is this supposed to be funny or why is he here? Because to me, he's the Step Brothers guy and he's Talladega Nights guy. You know, like why is he in this?
Did you touch my drum set?
Yeah. As soon as I saw
Thank
him,
his
so as
career
soon as
path
I
is
saw
so
him in the
interesting.
trailer, I
Yeah.
didn't
And
know
then
what
Wreck-It
the heck
Ralph
this
too.
movie
Yeah.
was.
So it's
Yeah,
not
it's-
interesting.
Definitely an interesting cast, to say the least, that James Gunn put together for this film. Very,
And
very.
Glenn Close, the Oscar loser again.
Oscar loser.
Oscar loser. That was
Yeah,
a great
man.
loss, though.
I'm sad we'll never see
Oh my
more of
God.
Xandar with Thanos destroying Xandar. I wonder if we'll ever
I
get
know.
I want to
kinda
see
look
him.
at that.
Yeah.
I think we will, because I think that's how they're going to probably introduce Nova to the situation, seeing his
Mhm.
his planet be destroyed. So I think we'll probably visit this planet again in the future, maybe Guardians 3.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Guardians 3. It's gonna be so good.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about what you guys your wish list for
Oh
Guardians 3.
yeah. I have a question for everybody about that whole
Yeah, sure.
Guardians thing
Yeah.
for the third one. I'm just really curious. Well, a couple months ago, James Gunn did like a Q&A, and he actually was like considering that Guardians 3 might be his like last Guardians film, and that the last time we actually might see these characters. So, how do you guys feel? That's all I wanted to get everybody's perspective.
Yeah, we'll go round table starting with Trevor, man. Go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
I think a Guardians 3 would be perfect. Like it just to end the Guardians, like their trilogy would be perfect. Finish it off right. I hope we get to see the Guardians of the Galaxy again, maybe in like an Avengers movie. But if they do want to like fully send them off in a third Guardians, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I kind of want to see what else is out there, like in the great big ocean, you know, rather than just like all the characters we know and love. Let's get some more risk taking, get some more characters and adventures kind of thrown in, you know. So I like no Captain America, no Iron Man. I love the Guardians, and I'm excited we're getting Guardians 3. But if that is their send off, I think I'll be honestly pretty happy if it's done right. James Gunn's doing it, so I know he'll do it right.
Mhm.
I love them so much, and if they go, I'll be sad. But if they keep going on and it keeps getting repetitive, I think I'll be kind of frustrated as well. So I'm indifferent about the idea, but hopefully they get sent off right either way.
What about you, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, everything has to come to an end, right? I mean, it can't go on forever. It's just like the MCU as a whole. So, I mean, I'm happy that they're doing another Guardians after the whole James Gunn situation. So I'm happy that we're at least getting that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and so a good close for them. And I'd like to see more of like Stallone's crew and some of the other Guardians of Guardians too. If they want to start doing some spinoffs or something. But yeah, I just hope it's good.
Ryan, what about you, man?
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, we have Disney Plus too. That'd be awesome if we did get like a Sylvester Stallone, Ving Rhames, new older Guardians type of series on there. But in terms of the Guardians, yeah, we can't have these characters forever. So it'd be great to have a fitting conclusion in there. Maybe throw them in some Avengers movies for sure. But I think if you do a right closure to a third movie, then I'd be definitely happy with that.
Yeah, man, that's a good point. What about you, Chris, in regards to the Guardians saying goodbye come the next film?
Yeah, I think that I would like to see it, how they did Iron Man 3, it ended his trilogy. They could end the trilogy for the Guardians, but what I would love to see is groups of characters appearing in movies. Like, I loved the team up in Infinity War of Rocket, Groot, and Thor. And I think seeing characters like that pop up in movies in the future is the way to go. Because I remember hearing James Gunn say that a Guardian might die in Guardians 3. So whoever's alive after that movie, I would like to see them pop up.
Yeah, it's a great point, man. I mean, I think the beauty too about the Guardians, because again, if I'm not mistaken, they've only been around since like 2008, so they're not like one of those Marvel classic characters such as Spider-Man or whatever the case may be. So the beauty of the Guardians, just like a film that James Wan is doing or James Gunn is doing next year, which is Suicide Squad, is you can kind of switch out the team. So I think if they do continue this franchise, we might see a different variation of the Guardians. We might see, like I said, Nova is a very pivotal character in the Guardians universe. Might see him. Adam Warlock was introduced in, Guardians 2. So I think if we get a continuation, that it might be a new team, which I'm always up for, a new bunch of, misfits and seeing how they can interact with each other. So. But I'm really, and we'll talk a little bit more about Guardians 3 later on, but just looking at this theme now, I'm really excited to see a little bit of backstory of Rocket, which they've been alluding to for a while as his creation and who created him and all that good stuff. So very, very excited for the future.
Who's your guys' favorite MCU Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth?
Oh God, that's such
Evans.
a hard question for me.
Oh, it's easy for me.
Evans,
Yeah,
Evans.
I have a man crush on Chris Evans.
yeah, Cap is my
Ever since that
boy.
whipped cream bikini and not another teen movie.
Yeah,
I'd have to go Chris Evans as well, but Hemsworth's a very close second.
Yeah. He's up there.
I'll probably go Pratt too.
So we got a question here from the chat. Jake asks, are you guys going to see New Mutants or no? I want to see it, but I feel like it could be absolutely horrible. So again, round table. We'll start with Chris this time. What about you, Chris? Do you want to see New Mutants, and do you think it's going to be horrible, man?
Personally, I don't have that much of an attachment to the X-Men franchise. I enjoy a lot of the movies, but like that first trilogy that came out in the early 2000s, I never really grew up on it or loved it. So for the New Mutants, I personally could probably go the rest of my life happy never watching it. But because of all these delays, it actually is piquing my interest. Because it's been delayed so many times, I finally think I want to check it out. The premise is pretty neat. I heard it's kind of like a horror movie for Marvel. So I probably will check it out if it ever comes out. Who knows?
What about you, Ryan?
I've always been an X-Men fan. I love the first two, the third one. But yeah, the whole series has just been great. And with this New Mutants, it's just cursed, man. I don't think we'll ever get this movie. I'm just kidding. I'm interested in it. I like the cast. I love Maisie Williams. Love her in Game of Thrones. Love Anya Taylor-Joy. What's his name? Charlie from Stranger Things.
Charlie Heaton, I think.
Charlie Heaton, yeah. I love the cast, but I think it might be pretty mixed all around, but I just want to see the movie because it looks pretty interesting.
Okay, and I know you're my fellow horror lover.
Man.
Horror stuff, man. What's your thoughts on New Mutants, and are you going to check it out?
Ever since this was announced, superhero horror film, sign me up. Like that's on the top of my list. But it does concern me the fact that it's been delayed like 25 times, and it was supposed to come out in 2009. But I'm gonna see it. I'm hoping that they release it at the end of this month, and there's a theater nearby that I can go to and check it out. That's open, and I'm hoping to go see it when it comes out. So with my face mask and oxygen tank and everything.
Oxygen tank.
I think Drax is my favorite introduction easily.
Oh yeah, we'll get to Mr. Drax here. Nothing gets over his head. But Trevor, man, New Mutants, man, are you psyched for it? Do you want to see it? Do you want to see some New Mutants on the big screen, man?
Quite frankly, man, I still don't know what this movie's about. I don't know what's going on. I know when I first saw the trailer, I was kind of creeped out. Like the first trailer dropped for it, I was kind of jumping. I was like, what's going on here? And I do like horror movies quite a bit, so it had my interest. And whenever you see movies getting delayed, you just know there's going to be problems, studio interference or something. So I think if we all have lower expectations, this movie's going to be bad. It's going to surprise us. If theaters are open in a couple weeks, like they're saying they're going to be, and it comes out, I'll be there opening night. But I don't think that's going to happen. Me personally, I don't think we're really going to get in our 2020 movie this year. Unfortunately, I know I'm being cynical, but if New Mutants is the first movie I see back, I'm not going to be mad. But if I don't see it at all, like Chris said, I don't think I don't really care.
Yeah.
What about you, Kristen?
As a fellow horror film myself, I'm kind of pumped to see it as this superhero horror type thing, and then to see it get delayed constantly and pushed with a release date. I wasn't too crazy about the cast. Like this movie to me seemed like I wasn't really gonna care. I just wanted to see it because it was like a horror superhero film, like I said. But I just feel bad for it. I just want it to be released anywhere at this point. Like even on Disney Plus, I'll settle for it. Like I'll just watch it on my TV and I'll be happy. Yeah. Or even if they decide to like show it in theaters, or even not even in theaters, like a drive-in type thing for a couple of weeks, I'll even settle for that. I'll go to a drive-in to see it.
Yeah. Hey man, I might be hopefully not let down, but I am so excited for New Mutants, guys. Like I remember 2018 is like one of my most anticipated films that year because like you guys, I'm a big fan of horror. I'm a big fan of comic book movies, obviously, but I'm a big fan of the New Mutants comic book run. Seeing the Demon Bear on the big screen is going to be like jaw dropping for me personally. So I hope everything I've been reading from seeing the panel at Comic-Con, hearing Josh Boone talk about that, they can't release on HBO Max because of the contracts before Fox was bought out by Disney. I think that they, regardless of if the US theaters can see it or not, they're going to put it out somewhere so they can eventually put it on VOD like a couple weeks after the theatrical run. So I'm psyched for it. And I'm really excited to see what this is all about because I love me a good horror film. So, But great question there, Jake. Let me know if you want to chat too. If you guys are excited for New Mutants and what you guys want to see. So we're now at the point now where, you guys have mentioned Drax is one of the better introductions of any MCU character. I just think this to me, and I would love to get you guys' thoughts on this as far as which Drax do you prefer? This one, the second one, Infinity War, and we really didn't get much of him of Endgame. But what's your perfect Drax for you? Starting with we'll start with Kristen.
Oh, you're starting with me? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's got cut out. Okay. Yeah, ooh, that's a good one. I think the more comedic Drax is in the sequel, but I do like his introduction to his story in the first Guardians. Like all of the memorable moments, like the scene in like the sequel where what you call it? I can't think of the name. Not Nebula.
Oh, Mantis.
Mantis. And she's like reading Chris Pratt's mind, and like Drax is commenting on that scene. I love that scene, and I think it's like some of the funniest comedy I've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I think his performance-wise comes out better in that film than in this one. Because I think that was like the time where like Dave Bautista was really getting into his like acting chops and technique. So, but I do like the introduction to what they like settled for like this film.
No doubt. Same question for you, Trevor, in regards to preferable version of Drax, this one, the sequels, or the Infinity War. Do you prefer the more comedic Drax, the more serious Drax, or a combination of both?
I love the first movie Drax, and he does have a lot of comedic lines in this film, like why would I run my finger across his throat? Like that's hilarious, nothing goes over my head, my reflexes are too fast, I'd catch it. Like he's very like subtly funny in this movie, but I like the more not angry Drax, but kind of angry Drax, like out there with like a chip on his shoulder trying to shoot out for revenge. And the second one, it seemed they went to more of a comedy route with him, which I enjoy, but it seemed at times it was too funny with him. He was just a funny character. Infinity War seemed like they went back to the first Guardians a little bit, funny, but still like how he tries to go after Thanos, vengeful again. So I would say the first Guardians, though, is probably my favorite.
And love to get your thoughts on this, Kim, but we can't leave out. This is not the first time we saw Thanos, but this is the first time we're seeing kind of.
Oh, what an introduction!
Yeah, this is great, guys. I mean, a little bit different. The design for
very purple.
Now. Yeah, very different.
Really purple.
But the voice.
I'll be honest, I forgot he was in
Josh
this movie
Ronan.
like this.
Yeah.
I always forget the scene, and then it pops up. I'm like, oh, there he is. There he is.
Oh, it's so good.
It's a great line too. What did he say?
This is a fight you won't win.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Infinity War.
Bathe the star waves in your blood.
I never liked that.
Yeah.
One.
You didn't like it?
No, I don't like the line where Nebula says, "Thanks, Dad. Sounds fair." I hate that line so much. I don't know why. And it's how she delivers it. I don't know. It gives me like cringeworthy to me.
But going back to our Drax, preferable Drax, Ken, do you prefer the more serious comedy? What's your Drax version, your favorite version of this character?
Yeah, I prefer the slightly more serious one. Like, Film Geek said that it's, what he does with this movie, just how he balances the humor with the serious. I think it's done very well. And to be honest, like, I can't be any more happier for like Dave Bautista. Because I was a huge pro wrestling fan back in the day.
Same here,
just to see him kind of go from that to this, and
Mhm.
like almost in a way surpassed like The Rock and John Cena as far as acting, because he gets to be in like the biggest films of all time.
Definitely John
I
Cena.
just think
I don't know about The Rock, but
yeah.
definitely John Cena.
Yeah, I just
John
think
Cena,
I just think
yeah.
it's the coolest thing that
Yeah.
he got, and he does such a great job. It's like the perfect role for him, and not just this movie, like Blade Runner 2049. The
Mhm.
opening of that
what a-
movie with
yeah.
him, he is so good in that movie.
Inspector.
I just couldn't
He's
be
so
happier
good at
for
Spectre
that
too.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, great in that. So
He
I've
gets to
said it
fight,
before. I think that Batista, if any other wrestlers turned actors, the first one to win an Oscar is Dave Batista.
Really?
I have to respectfully disagree with you, my man. And here's why. I don't know if you guys saw My Spy, but My Spy
I haven't
was
seen that yet.
My Spy,
And-
that movie.
That movie,
It
was also pushed back.
yeah, it just to me seems like, and even Stuber. Stuber was stupid. Let's be real. But
Oh,
Stuber,
he was
Let's
good. in
get
Stuber.
that.
He was good. in
I
Stuber.
enjoy Stupid. Yeah, I had a good
I
time.
can't
with
stand
I
it.
that
haven't
movie,
seen
man.
My Spy. I can't say anything about
Yeah, I
it.
haven't
Okay,
seen
but
it
my-
either. Yeah.
I
It
haven't
just
seen My
shows,
Spy, though.
thinks to me that like Dave Bautista just isn't fully ready to lead a movie by himself yet. I think he gets there, but him
Mhm.
as a team with the Guardians and Infinity War,
Mhm.
he's great. But Stuber and My Spy didn't really do it for me. My Spy is not terrible, but it's not great either. So
We'll say supporting actor.
there
Well,
you go.
I mean, I guess this is kind of, I would love to know, Trevor, who, so out of The Rock, Dave Bautista, John Cena, and there's been is there any other like prominently known wrestlers that's an actor right now that you guys think of?
John Cena, right?
Well, yeah, I said The Rock, John
Yeah, we
Cena,
had him.
and Dave
Yeah,
Bautista.
we got those ones, yeah.
Is there
Okay.
anyone else? I'm trying to think of female wrestlers. Like I know
Um,
Paige. I don't know if she tried to get into acting or not.
No, they shot that movie, right? She was
Fighting
in
with My Family about her.
Yeah,
Yeah, great
who-
movie.
about her. I'm saying
that
like
was another great
Yeah.
her
movie.
as an actor, like her being like on the screen.
Yeah, I can't think of
I-
any other current.
Yeah,
I think
those
the
are
big
the
three
three.
are The Rock, Batista, and John Cena.
Yeah. So out of those
I
three,
mean, you've got like the
Who you got
Miz
winning
that does like the Marine movies, but that's it.
yeah. I mean, they've all. Kane has had a movie. Triple H has been, Blade
Yeah,
2.
Kane.
I mean,
Yeah.
they've all tried their hand in acting, but not
Yeah.
all succeed. But I guess just curious, Trevor, who do you have winning an Oscar out of those three guys?
So, how Sylvester Stallone played that role in Creed, where he got nominated for an Oscar for supporting role and should have won. I think Dwayne Johnson has the best option. Maybe not now because he's in those big entertainment movies, but as he gets a little older in his career, I think if he plays a supporting role in that, Dwayne Johnson to me, I might be biased. I love Dwayne Johnson, dude. He's like my favorite person on this planet.
Yeah.
So I think he has the best acting chops of the three. To me, John Cena is, especially in Bumblebee, John Cena kills me. Like, there's a door in my way. Just how he delivers stuff. I'm like, how are you getting paid to do this, man? I'm sorry. I'm just a little upset with this guy. And Dave Bautista, I could see more of him. Like Blade.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, but you guys said he's good in that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
So I
so
know I
good.
need to see it.
He's just in the opening scene, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still
I
good
think
in
he
that opening
displays
scene.
he displays more emotional range in that opening
Yeah.
scene of Blade Runner 2049 than anything I've ever seen out of The Rock.
Very
Not even
true.
close.
Yeah.
I can
So
agree
I
with
got
that.
to see it.
Yeah.
can
Blade
agree
Runner.
with
Yeah. It's like I love that.
Blade Runners, yeah.
It's so subtle.
Yeah. And I guess, following, with Ryan and Chris, getting you guys' thoughts on Drax wise, starting with Ryan, did you have a preference of Drax?
Oh, I'm easily Guardians 1 Drax. Drax in Guardians 2 was one of my biggest issues. They turned him into a comedic joke box that whole movie. He's just laughing like 90% of the movie. Ha 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 ha! They didn't really give him much development in the second one. But Infinity War, I liked him even better. So I think if you balance both the seriousness and the comedy, just like this movie, then Drax becomes a great character all around. But I just love his revenge elements in here. His wife and all that.
Yeah.
This Guardians is my favorite. Yeah.
And then Chris, same for you, man, in regards to just preference of Drax.
Yeah, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but it has to be the first Guardians. I think that's when Drax is at his best because you feel for him as there's those reveals about his family and he really wants to go after Thanos and Ronan. But he's also funny, and I completely agree with you, Ryan. He is kind of irritating. Not kind of, he's very irritating in Guardians 2, for me at least. Yeah. They abused his comedy in that movie. They used it way too much.
That's I haven't seen I do enjoy the visuals of Guardians. Or Guardians 2. I haven't revisited in a while, but I do remember in regard. I can kind of see where James Gunn was maybe coming from with the character. If I'm not mistaken, Guardians 1 and 2 are only separated by like 4 months. They haven't been really together that long. So he's now having a new family. He's feeling maybe more comfortable. Maybe that is Drax. Maybe he's more funny naturally than what this first film hopes to be. So it'll be really interesting to see where Drax is come Guardians 3. A rumor out there that his daughter might still be alive, very similar to a comic book run. So maybe he has that motivational factor in Guardians 3. So we'll see what comes of that.
Was it in Guardians 2 or Infinity War that he's invisible? And he's like, I'm scared.
Infinity War.
Is that Infinity War? Yeah. I like giving Infinity War then. I think it's better. He strikes a better balance in that one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a funny line as well. So for those at home, and of course those that are on the live stream, for you guys can know where we're at, pull up the little timer here. So we're about 40 minutes into the film. We're seeing the Guardians trying to escape the prison. They're all kind of binding together, and we're seeing the team kind of come together.
Do you like this theme? Do you think this theme's as iconic as the Avengers theme?
No, not for me personally. I think it's cool, and it has it fits this tone of the film, but I don't think it's on. I don't think any of the.
I wish they used it more in the second one.
Yeah.
It's such a cool theme.
This
part where like they're floating. I think I'm probably you guys all right around where like everyone's floating up right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, that is such a cool scene to me. Like this whole in here, like Drax. I was laughing like, don't ever call me a thesaurus. But then this floating scene, dude.
A walking thesaurus.
This is where the Guardians like become the Guardians, in my opinion. This is probably my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Mysterio's bots.
It's so great.
Well, a certain vid says, "What's your favorite quote from this film? Do you guys have any favorite quotes?"
Why
It's
would
gotta
I
be Drax. Yeah. It's gotta be Drax.
Drax easily.
Or you said it yourself.
You said it yourself. That's my favorite.
Or the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Or Drax. Or what was it? Why would I put my finger on his throat?
Yeah.
Definitely some great lines.
Yeah,
definitely. John C. Reilly is always and will be Ralph for me. Definitely. One of the highest grossing actor/actress in the world. Yeah, that's surprise there.
Yeah.
No
Endgame and Avatar.
Richest.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson is richest. Yeah.
I'm
He's
pretty
one
sure
of the highest paid.
Sam Jackson has to be high on that list too.
I wish she's number one. Yeah.
Favorite. So certain Viz has another question for the panel. What's your favorite planet that is shown in this film? So we got Xandar, we got Unknown, Nowhere. I mean, is that the only? Do we go anywhere else in this? Any other planets you guys can think of in this film?
The opening one, I forgot what it was called.
Oh, where he
Earth at the
Earth, yeah.
Very, very good call.
So you got Tatooine, Hoth.
I'm trying to remember what is the name of the planet where he gets the. It's not
Morag.
Morag, yeah, because Is that you guys' favorite planet? Especially because we see it again in Endgame or Endgame.
Morag is my favorite.
Morag.
Just because of the opening.
Morag's cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful too when he flies away.
I'd probably go Xandar.
Yeah, I had to go Xandar too. Xandar just seems like a cool place. Like they made that like in the movie Tomorrowland, how that kind of accent, maybe a show like that, like where they go and explore Xandar. That would be super dope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that as well. And yeah, the Disney Plus opens so many avenues to explore different planets, different characters that we might want to see more of for sure. We got Triborough, Gigolo, salute to everyone. What's going on, Triborough? Who will be on the channel sooner rather than later. I'm going to have him on one of these streams. Salute to the chat. Thank you for joining in. Mid-level, saying what's up to Triborough. We got Jay Buck taking off. Yeah, what's going on, Jay? Jared. I was able to swing by, man. I guess this was the question earlier about asking about your favorite Chris Hemsworth here. Nice.
I love Hemsworth, man. That dude, he's doing really well, especially after Extraction. It really brought my love up for Hemsworth,
Yeah.
You know, a movie that he's in, I was curious to hear if anyone here has seen it, is the Red Dawn remake. Has anyone seen that movie?
I've seen that
movie. I love that movie, dude.
It's all right.
It's a guilty pleasure for me. I do enjoy it as well, Trevor.
Yeah,
I saw it in theaters with my dad.
It's not a great movie. Yeah.
No.
But
I just
like
remember
that.
seeing because Josh Peck is in it, and
Josh
I got
Peck
excited
is in it,
to see
Josh
it. I was like, Drake and Josh. That's the reason why I'll watch the movie.
Exactly.
I'm just thinking of Kristen. He has a very interesting filmography when you think of,
I think Cabin in the
Cabin
Woods.
in the
That's
Woods.
my song. Yeah.
Ghostbusters,
Rush.
Yeah, I mean,
Gosh, so
Wasn't he
good.
in one
12
of the
Strong, the
vacation
Horse
movies?
Soldiers one. Right?
12 Strong. I
Yeah.
saw that movie.
I really wanted to
enjoy
see that. Is that good?
I enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
the
like
best part in it.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's playing Hulk Hogan, right, in a biopic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stop bugging that
Yeah,
up.
he
That's
is
really
excited for that.
cool.
Super
Did you
excited for
guys
that.
ever see that Boss Logic poster that he made?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
look pretty
It
dope.
looks really good.
He did a good job.
Men in Black International.
Yeah.
Ugh.
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 Let's see what if New Mutants sucks, it would be released on Disney Plus already. Huh?
They can't release it on
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a
streaming
contractual
thing.
thing.
Yeah. Like they did Artemis Fowl, which I think is still my worst film of the year for me personally.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
that's
is,
mine as
and
well.
I've seen
Agreed.
365 DNI, and it
Yeah,
Artemis
really
Fowl
worse
is
than
worse than that,
365?
dude.
Wow.
Oh my god! It's
Yeah, at
so
least 365.
bad.
They knew what they were going for, and they
They
stuck.
tried. It was so
Yeah.
ambitious. It really was. I was like, hey, I can appreciate this.
Artemis Fowl.
man.
I don't know what they were doing with that. Like Kenneth
Gosh.
Branagh, I don't know if he was pretending to, because he's an actor. I don't know if he was pretending to be a bad director in that film because he is an actor. So I don't know. Maybe he was going for something.
Yeah.
I don't know what Kenneth Branagh was doing. I don't know what anyone was doing
And-
in that film.
I
Yeah,
love
Kenneth
Colin
Branagh.
Farrell, and Colin Farrell is probably my favorite part in that. But I don't even know why he was in it. You know, like to me,
He's
if
in
you've
and
seen The
out,
Gentleman, he's a really
They-
good
funny,
gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used half of their budget to pay him.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think I have to agree. John Cena sucks, man. I'm sorry. Maybe
He's
great
good in
wrestler,
that
but I
train
can't
I
say it.
loved him in Blockers.
Train wreck and
That's about
blockers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wasn't he in some movie
Blockers
called
was good.
12
Sisters.
Rounds, maybe?
it. I am not looking forward to F9. Oh, he's
Hey.
his brother.
I'm standing now. I got. He's gonna surprise a lot of everybody when you guys probably see him and James Gunn collaborated in Suicide Squad. I think he's gonna be a memorable, pretty good role in that film.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
James
okay,
Gunn's
I
right.
take that
He's
back.
got a lot of
Yeah.
charisma.
Yeah.
He I'm actually excited for him in Fast and Furious. The Fast and Furious is so dumb anymore. Like pretty soon they're gonna go to space, you know. But like,
Yeah.
if it's Dom's brother, bring it in. That's good. John Cena is pretty badass. Like he's jacked as all heck. So like to see him come in and fight Vin Diesel, come on, I'm game. I'm
Yeah.
super game for that.
Yeah, The Rock is my guy though. Yeah, that's my favorite wrestler.
He's fought The Rock too. So John Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rock and John
Popole,
Cena,
popole,
WrestleMania 29.
popole.
Let's see here. So, since we're kind of halfway mark, sort of kind of in the film, one of the first questions I definitely want to pose to the panel and everyone in the chat as well is, who is your favorite Guardian and why? Starting off with Chris, and just want to know which Guardian do you resonate with the most? Who's your favorite? And just kind of going into it.
Me or Kristen? I didn't.
Kristen,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kristen, go ahead.
Kristen? Okay. It depends on the day. Because I love all of them in like unique, different ways.
Mhm.
But when I first saw it, I absolutely loved Rocket for just how sassy he is and just the way Bradley Cooper brings the performance and the way how his character is just, you know, trying to be, I guess, like a better, not I guess version of himself, but like, you know, he's just been through a lot of stuff and he's seen a lot of stuff. And just knowing, you know, these people around him are going to make his life better. And you see that throughout the series and other films. It just makes me happy to see that he actually kind of has like a family that he can call for his own.
Yeah.
So probably Rocket, and you can't go wrong with the relationship he has with Groot. I mean, they're like the ultimate best buddies.
Yeah, the dynamic duo.
So probably Rocket.
Very nice. Yeah, Trevor, same for you, man. Your favorite Guardian and why?
I think we're all
I think I have to piggyback off that. I love Peter Quill, one of my favorites, probably my second favorite. but I think I have to go Rocket as well. His comedic timing is so subtle, and that's really thanks to Bradley Cooper. Obviously, Bradley Cooper voices him, as we touched on before, so beautifully. But also, like, he does have a lot of emotional side to his character. Like when at the end of this movie, when Groot like dies, that hits me in the chest. Like how he's so sad about it, and then in Infinity War, his banter with Quill, and then I just go back to Bradley Cooper portrays him into perfection. So I think Rocket has to be. I love Rocket, the trash panda, everything. Yeah, he's great.
Trash panda.
It's so much worse.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? Who's your favorite Guardian?
Kind of following the same train here. It's Rocket. I love him so much. I have since the first Guardians, and I think, like everyone said, Bradley Cooper just brings this energy to the role that we don't really see from him in some of his live action performances. I didn't know that he was even capable of it. And one of my favorite lines regarding Rocket is in Endgame when Tony says, "At this exact moment, I thought you were a Build-A-Bear," or something like that.
Maybe I am.
Yeah, very great line.
The best line of that movie.
Love it. Ryan, same for you, man. Is it?
It's Rocket. I mean, he's had the most screen time. He's like pretty much one of the remaining Guardians in Endgame, and just his relationship with Thor. I mean, that really works with me. Yeah. Another one that's probably too is Gamora, because Gamora was probably my least favorite in the first one, but man, her development was really great. Yeah. Star-Lord, he was kind of iffy in Volume 2, but I still really like him. I think Drax might be my least favorite out of the main ones, but I got to go with Rocket. I mean, he's just my favorite.
Nice. Ken, are we Rocket again?
I feel like the pressure is on me here because I actually do want to say Rocket because he is my favorite, but I'm going to say Groot.
Nice.
Because I like the fact that he has like his character changes like physically and it's emotionally. Like he changes physically to like display like how he's changing as a character too. And I like that little touch that they do with him. And he's just so marketable, He's like he was all the rage before Baby Yoda came out. Stole all the spotlight. But I love like stuff with him as Teenage Groot and Infinity War too. That's some of my favorite parts of that movie. With him playing the video game and all that stuff. Yeah. So.
That was a great picks. And I mean, we talked about it earlier regarding after the third Guardians movie, who, maybe a different team. I think just from a logistical standpoint, it would be pretty easy to bring back Bradley Cooper to do the voice acting of Rocket, even though he may be the one to die, but also Groot. So those would be like, logistically speaking, those would be like the easier people to continue this group. But we'll see. But I think, I'm going to continue with the train of Rocket. I think he is the most richest character, the most complex. We still haven't learned his creator, how he was created, and there's still so much to explore with that character. So I'm going to go with Rocket as well. I mean, it's a great character. It's all around a great character. So same question for everyone in the chat. Let us know who your favorite Guardians is and why, and let us know, because I would love to know what you guys are thinking on your favorite characters there. So this is a very interesting scene. I mean, Kevin Bacon, we see Peter Quill putting in the work, trying to, get a little romantic with Gamora.
I love this scene.
It's going to be so interesting to see him try to reintroduce himself to the Gamora of this new timeline and having to kind of retrace, try to get his love interest back. If she's even attracted to him, so it'll be really interesting to see that relationship moving forward in the next Guardians film.
Yeah, especially with Chris Hemsworth Thor in the way,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we got to see which version of Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth. Is he going to be, big Thor? Is he going to be cut?
Man, he might have to hit the gym.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with.
I think
he'll just walk into a workout room and then come out. And
easy, just thunder, lightning. He'll be back to normal.
The future's bright for a lot of these characters, and I think it was just so smart to them to bring Thor in with the Asgardians of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's just such a perfect, just genius move on Marvel's part.
That has to be to me, if they're gonna name Guardians 3, I feel like they should put the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 logo on, and before it goes away, it slaps an as in front of the Guardians, and they have Thor in there. To me, that if they don't, that seems almost like a missed opportunity in my eyes. That's something that's my favorite banter from Infinity War is them, and then back at again use Endgame. He's like, I do have a ride though. You're like, whoo-wee.
That, I mean, we'll put a pin in that because that is a question later on for as far as what we want to see for Guardians 3. I have some characters that might be a little bit surprising in regards to what I think might fit with the Guardians in the future installments. But yeah, that's a good point as far as Guardians of the Galaxy, because that is actually, there is a comic book run with the Asgardians with like Valkyrie, the Destroyers, like a bunch of random people. So it is a real group.
Yeah.
So really, I think they will probably bring them to the big screen eventually.
Yeah.
This is a good moment too with Rocket. Seeing his emotional side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Angry little raccoon.
Yeah.
Crazy raccoon.
Drunk little raccoon.
Drunk raccoon. So
Yeah, to me, this is my favorite scene of the entire movie.
Yeah, this is a great scene.
Like this is like what sold me on the film. I don't think I had got to this moment the first time I watched it.
Yeah, I didn't see Thor: The Dark World in theaters, so that was like his first appearance, Benicio del Toro. I'm like, Benicio del Toro as the Collector.
Yeah, again, this cast is just like, I don't even know who came up with it. Again, regardless of how people feel about the Marvel films, their casting, and in Ghost, I mean, literally, I think DC does the same thing. Casting for these superhero movies has just been so spot on, and Benicio del Toro in the film,
Yes.
is great for the Collector. I would love, and I don't know if we'll ever see it, but if this were the comic book accurate version of these characters, he is the cousin of I can't think of the character in Thor Ragnarok.
Isn't he the brother of the Grandmaster?
Grandmaster, yeah, by Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I would love to see them two on the screen and them just being two weird guys on the screen together. Hopefully we'll get something.
It's a tie.
I love all the little Easter eggs too that we get in this particular scene.
Lord Thunder. I am Groot.
What is this thing?
Is that your pet?
I have to say though, I think this version of Groot, Big Groot's my favorite. Baby Groot's more there for comedic. I don't like teenage Groot like at all. Big Groot,
me neither.
Is, Big Groot's like, I don't know what it is, but like I love him so much.
I love adult Groot.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this film that Tribal was talking about now? This Bushwick. Have you guys seen
Bushwick?
No.
Yeah.
I just seen it recently. It is pretty good.
Yeah. Is it a recently new film or an older one?
It's by the directors who just did Becky. So I think it came out, I believe maybe like 2018 or 17 or 18. I think I can recall. I
never heard of it.
But they just released a black and white version, which is pretty cool.
Certain vids here. I like every character better in Infinity War. Russo's just get every character they're working with. Well, the funny thing about that is actually James Gunn was brought in to kind of consult the Russo brothers on how he wanted the Guardians to kind of be in that film. So, I mean, it is a combination of obviously the Russos were the director, but James Gunn had a lot to say about how he wanted those characters to be written in Infinity War and Endgame. So, still James Gunn's characters.
Yeah.
So this is a very big scene here, and we'll talk about the future of the MCU a little bit later. But this scene, for those that might not be familiar with Celestials and Deviants and the Essentials, the Eternals, this is kind of a brief origin kind of display that we get here with these characters. So gives you a little bit of Marvel does such a great job of just planting the seeds for future films. 2014, and we're going to get this. We're seeing the Eternals for the first time 7 years later. So again, goes to the crazy planet of Kevin Feige.
No kidding.
Kevin
Feige, man, that dude's a beast.
What was that?
Do you remember back when I think it was like 2018? They were talking about James Gunn like heading up a cosmic universe for Marvel.
Yeah. Before the whole
and then everything happened, and then that kind of went silent. But that would have been pretty cool if he had been like the Kevin Feige of the cosmic brand. I
still think they're going to, with him now being back in the forefront, I think even though if he doesn't do another Guardian, I still think he's going to be like the kind of the Jon Favreau of the MCU, where he's kind of in the background. He's still like an executive producer on the Avengers film. So I think he'll still have his say in these future movies regarding the cosmic universe, which is, we've barely scratched the surface on these, the cosmic element of the MCU. So excited for that in the next phase. Which actually, I would love to get you this. I mean, it was a couple years ago, not to bring up old wounds, but starting with Chris, man, how did, again, this is 2 years, 3 years ago, but what was your thoughts on the whole Guardian or the James Gunn being fired? And again, this is a bigger conversation regarding like cancel culture and everything, but just kind of curious on your thoughts on how that was handled. Did they make the best move, I guess, when that whole thing shook out?
Initially I was pretty upset by the news, and I know that the cast of the Guardians film was also defending James Gunn, which is a huge thing. I think Batista said, "I'm not going to make Guardians 3 unless James Gunn is directing the film," and I agreed with that.
Batista went at him heavy.
I feel like a lot of people make mistakes, and that's just my opinion. I think that people should get second chances.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thoughts, Ryan, on that?
These are tweets he posted like 11 years ago. He's already apologized for, and now Disney's like jumping on the bandwagon type of thing. And it's just tweets he made. He's apologized for them, and just the whole cast speaking out about it. And it was definitely the right decision to rehire him.
And I guess to put a spin on the question for Ken, hypothetically, we're on Earth 94. If James Gunn wasn't brought back to the situation, was there a particular director that was kind of brought up during that time that you would have maybe been like kind of the whole situation with Scott Derrickson, and you have, Sam Raimi? Was there a particular director that you were like, hey, if James Gunn doesn't come back, this X director would be a great fit for that director?
Yeah, I mean, I know they were talking about, I think at the time the top choice was like Taika Waititi because it seemed like a natural fit after Thor Ragnarok. So I would have liked to have seen his take on it. I mean, but this is James Gunn universe, is his character. So ultimately, I kind of just wanted him back to do it, or I didn't really care to see it. But I don't know. It's to be honest, there's been so many of these types of things happen over the past 2 years. I can't even remember what was said by James Gunn in those tweets. But it seemed like that just came out of nowhere, and Disney just a knee-jerk reaction. And then you started to hear about for months afterwards. They were having like quiet meals and dinners together, like discussing his potential return. And then it was just announced. Like it took a while. Then it was probably like 3 or 4 months after, I think. It was maybe longer than that. It wasn't like immediate, but because we were discussing like who was going to direct Guardians 3 for a long time.
Right.
But it's everything. I think everybody deserves due process, and I think that the way that was handled was very poorly by Disney. But they made amends, so we'll get past it.
Yeah, same with you, Trevor. In regards to just your thoughts on the situation, are you glad that James Gunn is back? And if there were another, maybe besides Taika, was there maybe someone else that you would have thought would have handled the ship a little bit? Could have been a good replacement.
So obviously I was happy James Gunn came back. Like, once I heard he wasn't, it was just kind of like sad and unfortunate for the guy who worked so hard to get past that career point, and then hit a big like lull in his career, like with that all happening, and then had to overcome adversity. Then it kind of got thrown back into space again. Definitely is unfortunate. So I was glad he got to beat that yet again in his life. I was gonna say Taika, because Taika with Thor Ragnarok, is a dynamite of a movie. Is it bad if I say the Russo brothers? I don't think they would, because they're like the big top guys, but like anything the Russo brothers do for me anymore, man, I'm game for. And they're really good at taking the obviously team aspect with Infinity War and Guardians. And he worked really well with the Guardians, Joe and Anthony. So it'd be really cool to see them take on a Guardians Galaxy movie. I don't think they would, but that'd be my other option besides Taika.
Yeah, that would have been a different film for sure, seeing the Russos come in the mix. But Kristen, just kind of your thoughts on the situation. Are you glad that James Gunn is back? And do you? I guess just to kind of wrap it up, the conversation. Do you think James Gunn still thinks about the situation and maybe feels a little, now that he has his relationship with Warner Brothers with Suicide Squad, is he going to maybe do this last Guardians and just stick with DC moving forward?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Well, first of all, just to go back to the firing of Disney, I thought it was a huge mistake on Disney's end. Yeah. I think it was a really bad move, and to see Disney and the Marvel consider bringing back James Gunn, I think is such a stupid move, and just ultimately sad on my part, because I'm like, who else could direct this? There's like, to me, no other director. And to see him then just have Warner Brothers just pick him up right away and just say, okay, now he's mine. Like they were like fighting over him. Like like The Last Pizza or something like that. And,
Yep.
you know, to say we got him for Suicide Squad, a film that we believe that he can fix, you know,
Yep.
and to see them like Disney be like, oh crap, we got to get this guy back.
Yeah.
Let's forget what he said, you know. You know, to see him then to work on just from going to DC to Marvel, I think he'll play both fields. I don't see him going distinctly towards one studio or comic book franchise, whatever. I just think as long as he thinks he can tell the story and make audiences happy, then I think that's where I think he'll best be fitted. I think though he'll stick more to, I think, Marvel, because I think that's more of his home base, and then that's where he saw his whole career excel, you know?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see if he has, you know, obviously he's glad that he can finish his trilogy, these characters, but man, I wouldn't be surprised, man, if he has kind of a sour taste in his mouth for how that all played out. And, you know, with DC, they gave him any character. They gave him Superman. They gave him a whole bunch of characters, and he chose to go with Suicide Squad. So, and
he hired back even just about every single person that he worked with, even Batista, right? Yep. Like, Batista's back for Batista's on Suicide Squad. So, like, to even consider, like, Batista going back and forth with Marvel and DC, it's like crazy.
Yep. It'll be really interesting to see how it all shakes out. And I'm just kind of looking. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Going back a little, I just thought that Phil Lord and Chris Miller might have been able to do a pretty interesting Guardians movie.
That's a good point. Yeah, that would have been a good idea too.
Because they kind of fit that kind of, you know, freestyle, ad lib type of comedy beats. Yeah, that's a good one. Good call. Because I was looking up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kristen.
I was just going to say that's a really good point, because knowing they also worked with Chris Pratt for the Lego movie, it would have not been too bad of a choice, but it's still James Gunn's like baby project, you know?
For sure.
I mean, that's a great point too, because who knows? We were talking about Guardians 3 being the last for James Gunn in this iteration. Maybe that's who can replace James Gunn. That's a great call, Chris. And I was just kind of looking online too. Apparently, James Gunn in 2012, when they were hiring him to do this movie, the two other directors, or I should say 4 or 3, is Peyton Reed was considered to be the director of Guardians, and then the duo Anna and Ryan Fleck from Captain Marvel were in the mix.
Oh no!
Which I don't think.
Oh, absolutely
no! Thank goodness they went with James Gunn.
Man, Peyton Reed, he has a thing because I know his name has been brought up in the Fantastic Four. Obviously, we know him from Ant-Man. So Peyton Reed is a very sought out director of the Disney universe.
Yeah.
So,
what has he worked on besides Ant-Man? I'm unaware.
Bring It On.
Yeah, Bring It On, and
okay.
Did he direct The Breakup too?
Is that the cheerleader movie with Kirsten Dunst?
Yeah, Bring It On.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at his filmography now. So he did Bring It On, The Breakup, Yes Man, and then Ant-Man is most. And then he has.
I liked what he did with
Another
Ant-Man.
Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man. I thought Ant-Man was a solid film.
Yeah, because Edgar Wright was going to do it.
Is he directing the third as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the Rick and Morty writers, right?
Yeah, and then he's going to be directing The Mandalorian too.
One of the episodes. Yeah.
Which, speaking of that, I think we might be getting a trailer next month. I might have seen that on Twitter. I don't know if that's accurate.
See, man. We will see.
Yeah, it said September. I think that's when they're gonna.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list too of. Do you guys know who was up for the running to play Peter Quill in Drax? Some of the people that auditioned for the role.
No.
So you have for Drax, you have Jason Momoa who auditioned for him. So that would have been very interesting to see.
They got Aquaman.
Isaiah Mufasa, who was Axe body spray, or not Axe, Old Spice. And he was in
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, yeah. So he was up for Drax, and then for Peter Quill, where did I see that? Lee Pace was actually in the running, so Ronan auditioned for
Ronan,
yeah, he was up for it. Who else do we have here? Where did it go? I lost my place, but I think that was and it's always funny too because low key Tom Hiddleston auditioned for the Thor, and hear all these. It's interesting who ends up getting those main roles. But yeah, that would have been a very different Jason Momoa as Drax. Would have been very interesting.
Yeah, no kidding. Would he have hair or no? I always wonder that.
That'll be I don't know. I'll never know.
Has anyone else ever wondered about this moment in the movie when Groot like just stabs Drax in the chest, and like the pus comes
I'm
out.
like, my God. What if the
Does
Rock
anybody
played
else
Drax?
feel like? Does anybody else feel like The Last Jedi stole this scene from this movie? With them, Princess Leia in space.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I might be a little bit ahead.
Yeah, I think you're like about 5 seconds ahead of me, Chris.
Oh,
Hold on,
okay.
I'll bring up the screen
Yeah.
here.
Thanks for spoiling it.
Ooh.
Here's a little timer here for everyone at home and everyone watching replay. An hour and close to 10 minutes into the film.
Yep,
But no,
I'm
yeah,
like-
that's a great point, Chris, in regards to the whole, I think, Drax, I mean, not Drax, but Groot, man, just kind of shows you he has so many different abilities that we probably don't even know about yet, bringing people back to life and regenerating himself. And we're going to see this, what is it, the Mega Groot or Alpha Groot in the next one, which is this like super badass version of Groot. So very, very
Oh, wow.
complex, interesting character.
That'll be cool.
I didn't hear about that. That's actually really interesting.
Mhm.
It is cool.
As long as it's not teenage Groot, I'm happy, man. I do not like teenage Groot.
Thank
Not
God.
a fan.
Thank goodness.
I am Groot. You didn't like that attitude, man? For
I don't
Teenage
like
Groot?
how he
I
says
am
that. I
Steve
am
Rogers.
Groot.
Yeah.
I am Steve Rogers.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, try
I
to
am Groot.
balance of humor and seriousness and personality. We got Dylan. Keep up the great work, Kristen.
Nah.
Who's the biggest fan of the film on the panel? We'll probably we'll say that a little bit later in regards to our final thoughts in
Yeah.
regards to where this
He
film
is
ranks for us.
kicking grass.
I think James Gunn confirmed as Guardians of the Galaxy isn't the title, sadly. Yeah, I mean, I think he might be holding out with that too, because I know a lot of people brought up that Endgame might have been a title and they kind of brushed it off and ended up being the title for Avengers. So who knows? Who knows what the third one's going to be titled?
I can only imagine.
I can only imagine. Yeah, it's been Ronan. What Ronan right here becomes like his own person, right? When he's like talking to Thanos.
When he gets
His,
the-
his ego is
Yeah.
hitting hard.
the
Yep.
Power Stone.
Boy.
What's that guy's name? That guy that just showed him what the
Yeah,
trailer was.
Jorah.
Charmin Hansu is the actor's name, right?
Korath.
Yeah, but how do you say the actor's name?
Jamon
Jamon
Hunsu.
Yeah.
Okay,
Digimon
he's
Hensu?
fantastic, and
Jamon
everything he
Hunsu.
does,
He's
I
super
just can
underrated.
never pronounce his name.
Loved him in Blood Diamond.
Yeah, he was.
I still need to see Blood Diamond. I know that's a side topic. but I
So
need to
so
look
do
it up.
I. Yeah,
Great film, really great film.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
He
He
was
said it.
also in. Oh,
yeah. You gonna say Aquaman?
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain
Yeah.
Marvel, Aquaman.
And-
yeah.
and Shazam. He made like a little thing in Shazam.
Yeah, he was. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
the
Yeah.
old wizard.
And he was
Yeah.
just-
Shazam's
7?
great.
Was he in Furious 7 or
Yeah.
Furious 8?
Furious
Seven. I think he
7.
was
Yeah,
I think
Furious
it's 7.
He was on
Mm.
that cliff, the cars.
Yeah,
thing,
when they
the cars.
they drive off the cliff or whatever. It's ridiculous. Yeah, he's also in. I don't know if you guys have seen him. It's the Matthew
Gladiator.
McConaughey Anne Hathaway
yeah.
movie.
Yes.
Serenity, he's in that.
no.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Gladiator.
that was
Gladiator.
atrocious.
That's what I remember. The first one I saw him.
Oh yeah,
No, I'm
Gladiator.
talking about recently. Serenity is literally one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life with
Mhm.
fantastic actors. So
Yes, I can agree to that. That
yeah.
I saw that pretty
The
recently.
ending was
too.
incredible, though.
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
The ending is amazing.
Do you really think so?
It was interesting. It was interesting.
I was like, I can appreciate what they tried to go for, but like just the whole dialogue and everything. Like, watch the trailer for that movie. Though I know this is a side talk, but the trailer for that movie is fantastic, and the movie itself
It
is just an
is.
abomination.
Sounds like another DC movie that I talk about with Trevor a lot.
Oh God.
I won't go too in depth, but that's how I feel about Suicide Squad. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a film.
know,
we'll
I was just
actually
hoping you
watch
weren't going to
next
say
week.
Man of Steel.
back to
No, I like it.
directors
It's pretty good.
for this, I would say like
Mhm.
David Ayer might be kind of good. Might have been a good choice for like a Guardians 3 if he like had the free willingness. I like
Ooh.
Suicide Squad though, so that's just me.
Yeah.
David
David
Ayer,
Ayer,
man, I
like-
don't know what's been going on with him these last like 5 years. Since Fury, I think he hasn't made a good film for me.
He's
personally.
doing the
Last-
tax. He's doing the tax collector.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
Yeah.
For that. Yeah.
Really, I am.
Shia
That comes out
LaBeouf.
I'm not.
next week, right?
Yeah.
Next Friday.
Yeah, I
This-
think so.
Dude,
I just, I
Shia,
don't know,
like,
man. David Ayer
Shia
just has
tattooed
not
his
been
whole
hitting it for me.
torso.
Yeah, he's a
I'm-
method actor for sure. I appreciate that, but yeah,
I like
David Ayer.
Training Day.
I love Fury. Lavender
Yeah,
Watch.
Fury, that was the last good film for me for David Ayer was Fury, which I think was 2014 too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Fury's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
End of Watch is also
That
very,
is my
very
most
good
underrated
too.
war
Oh,
movie.
Yes.
I don't even know
Well,
if you
thanks for
watched
bringing
it.
that up. That's a great movie. End of Watch is amazing.
excellent.
End of
That's probably
Watch.
my
End of
favorite out
Watch.
of his.
Yeah, me
Jake
too.
Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena, fantastic film.
Great combo too of the two of them.
Oh my god, that's one of the most underrated movies probably ever. Like not enough people
Exactly.
have
So is
seen that.
Fury.
It is.
I haven't seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, recommend it.
Yeah.
I always recommend Fury when it comes to war movies.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
Fury
And-
or End of Watch.
I
so I'm
haven't
a
seen
You
slacker.
got to see
Fury.
both.
Yeah.
Those are
Fury's good
Those
too.
are good. Yeah.
Isn't this guy? Isn't it James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn?
Yeah.
One of the
Sean Gunn. He
Yeah.
also does
Yeah.
Rocket too.
Just-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like the yeah.
the
He
motion
does the
capture.
mocap. He does
Yeah.
the Rocket.
Yeah. Motion capture
Mhm.
actors, those guys are
That
underappreciated,
guy's
man.
in everything.
They need-
Mhm.
Just,
They need an Oscar for motion capture or something.
Yeah,
Agreed.
The Witch.
Andy
Witch,
Serkis would have
Game of
about
Thrones.
5, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis would have all of them. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, Andy Serkis, man.
Rocket and his weapons, man. Just gotta love that character.
This is. I haven't seen this movie in probably like over a year, dude. It's
It's
just,
been a
every time I
while.
rewatch it,
watched
I
this.
just remember how much I love it. You know, this is no lie, top 5, maybe
Exactly.
top 4 MCU for me.
Wow.
I do an MCU rewatch every year. I just watched this a couple months ago. So
Mm.
it always works for me. You
Check
safe.
brings me.
So this isn't a gripe I have with Guardians. I do love this movie. I love the characters, but it is weird how they're so far disconnected from the rest of the MCU. For me, that makes me not want to rewatch them as much. It's a weird thing, I know, but I just like to revisit Iron Man and Cap and Thor and all of them a little more than the
Sure.
Guardians. I still really do enjoy this movie, but that's just a thing that I feel. I don't know.
Is it so? You were saying like more of the? Is it because we were taking place in space and it's not grounded on some of those characters that you just mentioned, Iron Man and Cap and all that, or?
Yeah, it's like I enjoy the cosmic aspects, but they're the movies that I find myself rewatching the least, and I don't really include Endgame or Infinity War. That's a different case.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for the Dark World, I don't watch those often. I don't rewatch Guardians as much as other people. I still really enjoy it, but
Oh, I watch this movie every year. I love it.
That's interesting too, because I think to that point too, because I think that's the big thing that they probably want to do in this next phase is get more intergalactic, right? So when we can go back to these films and see them kind of plant the seeds for this, the space part of it, of the galaxy or the MCU. But no, I get your point. Especially like Winter Soldier, I watched. That's probably like my most watched MCU film, just because.
Oh
it
yeah,
was
Winter
so-
Soldier's up
so
there.
grounded. Yeah.
Yeah, Winter Soldier. I rewatched
That
the Winter
is the
Soldier for the
best.
first time in a while. About 2 weeks ago.
Great.
It's great.
I had Civil War over Winter Soldier, but now rewatching, I put Winter Soldier.
I think I do too.
I have Civil War over it. But it's very close, very close.
They're like switching back and forth
Yeah,
day
yeah.
by day for me.
Same.
Yeah.
All 3 of the Captain America films are in my top 5.
Yeah, the Captain
love all
America.
of them.
Even the
They're
first
best.
Avenger. Wow,
I even like the first one is severely underrated.
I agree. It's
I agree.
Underrated just how good that movie
Agreed.
Especially after Endgame, that movie went up drastically.
Origin story.
is. Yes, yeah. Once you see the kind of the full
Mhm.
arc of Captain America and go back and watch that beginning again, it makes it a lot better.
Those scenes with Tim and Peggy are great in that film.
Yes.
Definitely. That's actually a kind of a.
I thought it cut out for a sec. No
Yeah.
lie.
I thought
Was it there?
You there, Elliot?
Yeah,
I was like, oh, we're done. This is how it is.
What you
Bye,
said?
everyone.
thought I got disconnected.
is Elliot frozen?
Yeah, Elliot, are you here?
Yeah, I thought I froze out again.
Yeah, I think I froze out earlier and I was confused as to what happened, but
Yeah.
Elliot left us.
Elliot,
Oh,
You
I
left us all
think
alone.
Elliot just,
who
yeah.
wants to take over as the intermediate host?
take over.
All right, guys, we're hijacking movie files. Film stock, put on Whiplash.
I would if I could. Trust me. Same year. Speaking of that, how did that movie not win Best Picture? I think it should have.
Yeah,
But
why did the most
Whiplash?
yeah,
over the decade one?
It absolutely should. That's the best film of the entire decade, maybe the 21st century.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
A fantastic movie.
Birdman is a damn good movie, though. I love Birdman.
Yeah.
I think.
But speaking of
Yeah.
Guardians, I love the scene that's about to happen where
There we go.
he's back. He's back.
He's back.
I don't know what happened to Google Chrome there. Sorry about that. I love what is Ken will get this joke here. Batfleck got movie files.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I thought he got me for a second when he
I
first
got
went
kicked out of my own stream briefly there, but I am back. I am back.
It happens.
Let's see. I was going to bring up a screen here to get you guys' thoughts, but I'm not going to bring up any more pictures so I don't get kicked out again. But the question I wanted to bring up to you guys was, we talked about a couple films in MCU, but I'm just kind of curious from the panel, starting with Kristen. What do you guys have like a favorite phase of the MCU? And not phase 3, because that had like 30 films, but at least from phase 1 to phase 2. Do you have a preference between the two?
I don't really have a preference. To me, I just follow the films. Which one came out better out of all the others?
Fingers crossed. Let me see if it works now.
Let's see.
There we go. All right, so hopefully it doesn't crash on me. But here's the phase 1 and phase 2 slates.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. I was just looking at it up.
Okay. Besides the fact that phase 3 was just massive,
Yeah,
probably phase 2 only because I love Winter Soldier. That's a great spy film, and it had Guardians and Ant-Man. I really enjoyed Ant-Man. It was a solid
too.
standalone superhero film, and it was a great side character piece for Ant-Man to introduce him to the MCU. So phase 2 better wise, but oh gosh. Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to go phase 2.
that's a good pick. I mean, it's definitely kind of like a process of elimination, right? Because you look at phase 1, there's maybe Iron Man 2, and some people don't like the Hulk. But then you look at phase 2, you have Thor. Some people aren't the biggest fans of Iron Man 3. So it's they have their hits and they have their misses. But Trevor, same for you, man. Between phase 1 and 2, man, which one did you prefer?
I gotta go with phase 2, and only because phase 1 has 3 of my bottom 4 MCU movies with Hulk, Iron Man 2, and I'm sorry. 2 of my bottom 4, Hulk and Iron Man 2. Phase 2, only one I'm not the biggest fan of is Thor: The Dark World. I'm a pretty big fan of Iron Man 3. Winter Soldier, Guardians are both top 5. And Age of Ultron's not the best, still solid, but Ant-Man's a very, very underrated movie. So, and if we're really picking though, I would really say phase 3 is perfection in my eyes, but phase 2, phase 2 definitely.
Yeah, we won't be able to compare phase 3 until we get this full slate of phase 4, or maybe even phase 5, depending on the films. But Chris, same for you, man, in regards to these phases between 1 and 2.
Yeah, so I have to go with phase 2, but I do want to give a lot of credit to phase 1 for starting this whole entire thing. And the movie Iron Man is actually my favorite of phase 1 and 2. If you combine them, I love that movie. It's fantastic. And without that, we wouldn't get the rest of the MCU. So I have to give it credit. They were still finding their footing in a way, but by that Avengers movie, I think they were pretty close to the rest of the foundation for the MCU.
No doubt, no doubt. Ryan, what about you, man?
My opinions are exactly Trevor's. It's definitely phase 2. Look at phase 1. It's got Iron Man 2 and Incredible Hulk. Some of my least favorite. Actually, no. Incredible Hulk kind of moves up a little bit, but Phase 2. Look at Iron Man 3. I love that movie even more every time I watch it. Thor: The Dark World. No. Winter Soldier and Guardians. Age of Ultron, I enjoy that. And Ant-Man too, it bumps up. So each phase gets better and better for me. So yeah, I gotta go phase 2.
Nice. Ken, what about you, man? What's your phase preference?
I don't know, man. This is really tough.
Yeah, I'm looking at the.
I think I'm gonna go phase 1. Because 3 of phase 1 is in my top 10 and only 2 of phase 2 is in my top 10. So if I'm going off of that, but also phase 1 has 2 of the worst, probably my bottom 2 as well, with Iron Man 2 and Thor. I hate the first Thor movie. I think Dark World is better than that one.
Wow.
But yeah, I think I'm going to go for phase 1 because I love Iron Man. I love the first Avengers just for what it did. And like I said, I think first Avengers is the most underrated MCU movie. So yeah, but I love Winter Soldier 2 and Guardians, so it's tough. But I'll go phase 1.
Man, it's a tough call, like you said, King. Because I'm looking at Iron Man 1 versus Iron Man 3. I'm going Iron Man 1. Hulk versus Thor. Yeah. I'm probably going with Hulk personally because I'm not a big fan of Dark World. Iron Man 2 versus Winter Soldier. I mean, it's not even close. Thor 1 versus Guardians 1. I'm going Guardians. First Cap versus Avengers. Believe it, I'm going with Cap. Like the individual film, like I put that individual film over an Avengers film for me personally because I'm a big Cap fan. And then Avengers versus Ant-Man, I'm going with Avengers. So I mean, it's not as a clean landscape or a defeat as it may look out to be. But yeah, I'm still gonna go with Phase 2 because Phase 2 has arguably it has 2 of my favorite like MCU films in that slate. But Phase 1, man, it definitely
it's hard to give up Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And like Chris said, man, it's you got to respect Phase 1 because it was the foundation and laid the groundwork to where we are today. So, but yeah, Phase 2 is definitely the beginning of this like epic run of just like hit after hit after hit. Because I'm looking at the list now. If you look at probably from Winter Soldier on, I'm just looking at Phase 3. I really don't think they have any like major, I don't want to say major misses, but like Thor Dark World, I think universally isn't as loved as other MCU films. So from 2014 to where we are now, 6 years later, they've been pretty consistent with like just solid films or let alone great films is pretty impressive.
The only one I disagree with though on that is I am not a Captain Marvel guy, man. I wanted to be. I wanted to be so much.
Same.
Then the one that got me the worst is that like when Nick Fury, one of my favorite lines he says like last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye. Then the Flurkin takes his eye, the cat. I was like, And then this is something that a lot of people don't think about is the SHIELD logo. Remember in the first Iron Man and like everyone's talking about SHIELD, Agent Coulson's talking about SHIELD, and then he keeps saying how whatever it is all heck along. And Iron Man, Tony Stark's like, you got to find something to abbreviate that. And then back in now, where this is way before, he's like, this is the SHIELD logo. I'm like, wait a second. 2008, we called it SHIELD. Now we're back in the 90s, and you're going, you need a SHIELD logo. It drove me bonkers, man. Had some cool things to tie in. I love Ben Mendelsohn's character, but I tried to rewatch Captain Marvel, and I'm not lying. It's my least favorite MCU movie.
Sometimes I can't finish it.
I'll say this. I am a defender of Captain Marvel to a certain extent because I think it is one of the most misplaced MCU films of where it falls. Because I think the energy, the vibes is such a phase 1, almost phase 2 type of movie, but we're so far into this, Infinity Saga that it looks kind of like a weaker film. But I see what they were going for. I just think it was just kind of misplaced within the momentum of what we were getting from the MCU. But I hear the complaints with Captain Marvel being kind of unrelatable and kind of a figure of a character, but I have a lot of hope for Captain Marvel too, especially with the rumors of them introducing maybe the new Avengers and having some other Avengers kind of boost her character, which is character that I can see maybe meeting the Guardians later on. But I have a lot of hope for Captain Marvel too because I'm I love Brie Larson as an actress, so. I'm hoping that they can redeem her, and I'm really excited to see who they announce. We were talking about directors. I wonder who's going to direct Captain Marvel 2. That would be a really interesting news story when that hits.
I want to see Jon Favreau back doing an MCU movie, and I think he could bring an interesting flair to a Captain Marvel 2. I'd be my pick, honestly. I like Jon Favreau a lot. I mean, some of his recent movies I'm not his biggest fan of, like the last year's Lion King, but the first Iron Man is still a top 6 7 MCU movie for me. First Iron Man is bomb, man. So
Yeah.
I would like to
But
see
he
Jon
also
Favreau
did
make
direct Iron Man 2, so we can't forget that.
I know, so that's why I thought
But he
about that. I
also-
said,
I think that was less
He
of
did-
his
He also-
fault, in my opinion.
exactly. A
Iron
lot
Man
of
2, I
studio
think that was
interference, I'm pretty sure.
very much
Yeah.
studio
Yeah.
interference.
He also directed Elf, which is one of the best.
Yes,
Christmas
Your
movies.
favorite
classic.
Christmas movie of all time. I love it.
You know,
I love it so
that's
much.
a
Yeah,
great
Joe.
question I would love to pose to you guys in regards to that studio interference
Joe Buck,
conversation
yeah.
regarding every film has technically has studio interference with notes and producers and different opinions on it. So obviously it depends on how the news cycle goes. Like, we talked about David Ayer earlier in Suicide Squad, how they brought in a trailer company. Obviously we're inundated with, we know so much about films than what we didn't know 20 years ago. So I'm just kind of curious on how you guys feel about that, about interference with certain films, get that kind of trope of like studio interference and kind of, I don't want to say a scapegoat, but it's kind of used as an excuse of why bad the film is. So just kind of curious on what you guys think about that whole conversation about studio interference, starting with Kristen.
Ooh, I mean, gosh, I like watching a director's cut. So, and what the director brings to the vision, I tend to go along with his story more than when I hear a studio involved. It makes me feel like, oh, really? Why do they have to change this? Why do they have to come in and, deconstruct whatever the director had envisioned and wanted to please the audience? And yeah, just seeing the studio, it really bums me down because I know they're trying to make all their producers happy. They're trying to make all the people who's paying all the finances happy. They're trying to make them happy first before the audience first, too. So, yeah, that's how I feel. I don't like when the studio has to get involved. I don't like that. But if they have to, then they have to.
Right. Because I think there's so many. We always hear the negative stories, the David Ayer situation, Josh Trank with
Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, more
Zack
famously,
Snyder.
but we don't hear about the other side of studio interference. Again, Kevin Feige, maybe 19 out of the 23 MCU films have been big hits or universally loved, but we don't hear about all the positive stuff about studio interference. So it's just, I guess, Trevor, just want to get your thoughts too on just kind of your take on studio interference, about not hearing the good side of producer notes and all that good stuff that they might bring to the table.
It's definitely very one-sided. Like you hit the nail on the head with that one. We only hear about like, oh, it's his abomination, and we don't hear about the like with Kevin Feige maybe giving great ideas to encourage it. But when like people pitch movies to studios or a studio picks up a movie, don't they have like the script generally? Like they know what the main premise is and the director's goal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, why pick it up if you're gonna go, this is great, we're just going to change the entire thing. We don't want to do anything you just did. It's like, why even pick up the movie? Why not just go, no, we're good. That's my kind of thing. I think like Warner Brothers has just something going on with them right now, especially with their DC movies. Like they're just not willing to take the risk. Like Justice League, I'm still a fan of Justice League, but obviously it's not the greatest movie. Suicide Squad, Chris, throw that down there for you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of heartbreaking that these directors get this big like time to shine, and then it almost looks bad on David Ayer. It looks bad on Zack Snyder that they made this bad film when in all reality it may or may not have been their fault.
Yeah,
that's a great point, and I feel this, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Ken, too. But I feel so bad for Xandar. Like I totally, obviously their planet was devastated by Thanos, a couple years later. Now this whole, that has to be like, we were talking about where would your favorite planet? I just feel so bad for the people of Xandar because it's just
rip to the
Thanos
people.
destroys it. So a place I would not want to visit. But yeah, Ken, going back to that conversation with the studio interference, man, just kind of your thoughts on it, and Zack Snyder coming back and. Because I think DC is in the up and up. Because you were talking about not risky. I think, the Joker is a risky film. I think, some of the stuff that they've announced in the future hopefully will pay off. But just kind of curious on your thoughts on the studio interference, man.
I think it's kind of when you sign on to do these big budget movies, that's kind of part of it. You're gonna get some studio interference, and I think you'll see out of at least the great directors, the ones that aren't afraid to push back and possibly lose their job. Those are the ones who will get better results. And I think it's a give and take, with studio interference, but a lot of the times they pick up the smaller indie filmmakers that have never directed a big budget film before, and they think that they can just kind of push them in the
Push them
directions that
around.
they want to.
Right.
And you know, that's why you'll get a lot of this stuff. But with the David Ayer, I mean, he had done, you know, many films before Suicide Squad, so you would think that you know, there's definitely situations also that are worse than others. So I mean, it's yeah, it depends on the situation, but I think it's just kind of part of it and something you should expect as a filmmaker director when you sign on to these projects.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, and Trevor, you brought it up too earlier, man. It is always funny to me when, like that point you mentioned, when they come to the studio to pitch the film and they say, we're going to greenlight it. And then 18 months into production, it comes out and you find out that, you know, new writers were on board. They changed the third act entirely and all this stuff. It is very, very interesting when you hear those stories. I would love to be a fly on the wall when someone pitches the next Star Wars film or someone pitches the next phase of the MCU or DC film. Or something. Love to be in those conversations. I can't wait for that Zack Snyder Telltale All book when he talks about what happened with Justice League and how all that kind of played out. But
I didn't know that was coming out. I did not know that was coming out.
No, it's not. I'm just saying, like, I'd imagine, like, 20 years from now, it'll be like a movie about.
My bad, I'm dumb sometimes.
The DC
you were so
universe.
convincing.
I want to see that. I want to see everything with Star Wars that's been going on and.
Oh my goodness!
And all that. There's
Star
so
Wars.
many future things.
Martha.
Trevorrow cut. Rise of Skywalker.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, same thing. Yeah, with Ryan and, you know, Chris, getting your thoughts on it too, as far as, like, you know, studio interference and how you guys feel about it. Or did I start with you? Or actually, did I start with you guys and I wrapped it up?
No, we haven't. I don't think we've.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
When it comes to studio interference, it always can ruin a movie, or sometimes it can work in its benefit. With DC, the plan was just not there. And with Justice League, with Zack Snyder and all that, with his daughter, the studio just completely took advantage of the situation. And it's really not the best thing. You know, I want to see a director's vision from start to finish. Yeah. And it's great that a lot of studios out there are giving directors their own voice, like Kevin Feige with Marvel, giving, like, directors a shot and just seeing their vision. I love to see director's cuts like the Snyder Cut come out. You get to see a vision that I would want to see. With Suicide Squad, that situation was done poorly. Only giving David Ayer 6 weeks to write the screenplay. That's just not a good sign. So it's always great to see, you know, creative vision given to these directors of all times.
No doubt.
I agree, Ryan. And I think that the biggest instance of studio interference involving creative differences that I can think of has to be Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yes.
That was a disaster behind the scenes. And I would like to see an actual documentary on that, because I know that Ron Howard had to come in and save the day, because it was Phil Lord and Chris Miller who were like, they were getting into production, and then there was creative differences. That's what they said, I believe. I want to know what really happened behind the scenes there.
Yeah, Miller cut.
Ron Howard. It's just Star Wars, especially. I think there was a lot of reshoots for Rogue One close to its release, I want to say.
Yeah.
And like you said, Suicide Squad, it's just very prevalent now. And it has its pros and cons, but we see the negative side way more than the positive side.
No doubt.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, would you guys, I mean, we live in 2020. We all have our cell phones. We're all connected to what's going on in Hollywood. But do you guys wish that we maybe didn't know as much behind the scenes stuff? Obviously, we all have our channels, our Instagrams. We talk about this stuff on our podcasts and YouTube channels and lives. But do you almost feel like it's almost too much information that we know who's getting casted in this role, the directors that are up for it, the screenwriters had to, like, it almost feels like we're too indicated with all this information, and just kind of affects the movie going experience to us. It takes away.
Imagine back in the day, you know, if you lived in the 80s, about Empire Strikes Back, all you know, it's the sequel to A New Hope. And you don't know anything. That's like what makes the movie going experience so amazing. Now we're getting like bunch of trailers. We're getting ideas of what they're doing in the set. It's leaked behind the scenes photos of them on set. Like, I miss like the times where we don't know anything. We don't see any trailers and we don't see any behind the scenes photos. Like that to me is like the best movie going experience, is knowing nothing.
Yeah, it's a great point. But then on the other side of, it has brought in so many great, again, we all have our YouTube channels. We have something to talk about on a weekly, daily basis, right? we know that there's journalists that's how they make a living, is breaking these scoops. So it is that side of it. And I mean, the studios, they play to it too, as you just mentioned with trailers. Marvel gives you 17 trailers, you know, DC. And I'm a big believer that a lot of these studios, they leak a lot of the news that we hear just to get a temperature of the audience to see, oh, what do they think about if we cast this character or if we do a film about this. So I think that happens a lot of the time. But very, very Hollywood. It's a gift from the curse.
Hollywood, exactly. Hollywood, I was gonna not to piggyback off what you said, Elliot. I think they do that. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna announce this, and we're gonna see what people think about it." You know, it's like that's why we get all these behind the scene things, and like basically what all of us are doing are creating that word of mouth, creating almost that marketing as well. Like the big dog, Sean Chandler, John Campy are talking about this on a daily basis, getting thousands and thousands of views, right? And it's whether good reviews or bad reviews, but like even with Aladdin and the Genie, you know, they released a small thing of the Genie. Everyone lost their minds. You're like, it's over something silly, over a Disney kid movie made for children. We're gonna lose our mind over if the Genie's too blue or too buff. You know, but they do that, like you said. Let's test the waters before we go out and fish. You know, let's see how what we're dealing with here.
No doubt, man. Can you imagine? That has to be like the coolest job ever, being like a Twitter, being hired by like a studio to be like a Twitter person, just to put like tweets out there to see how people react to certain things. And just like a missile. You just send is like a missile, right? And it's just like, I would love that job.
Yeah, but we're about to just piss off everyone. Yeah.
Not to neglect, we just had one of the more emotional moments. You know, we thought that was the last time we are going to see Groot, you know, I am Groot moment. Very emotional moment there, because that's when the team, and that's the one thing I love about dysfunctional families, Umbrella Academy we were talking about earlier. You know, you think of the X-Men, you think of all these groups that don't fit well together, but when they have that moment where they all band together, they're fighting for the greater good, and that's just a great moment. That's when the Guardians were, you know, they're a family now.
Yeah, I called him an idiot.
This is definitely. Yeah, go ahead.
I just love how like that post-credit scene we get with like a little Groot and like a little flower pot dancing. You know, it's one of my favorites. It's so cool.
That's so classic.
So good.
The first time he met.
This is I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
I was a little confused why he called them the Guardians of the Galaxy here. Just to throw the name out.
Let me say,
how do you know they're the Guardians of the Galaxy?
What's the you guys know on Instagram when they did the Leonardo DiCaprio and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when they say the name in the film and he's sitting on his couch like, oh, there's a name.
Yep. No, I do have the Family Guy thing. Oh, he said it.
That is funny. Well, I mean, I guess maybe this is James Gunn foreshadowing. There were Guardians of the Galaxy before this group of Guardians of the Galaxy, so maybe that's like a thing that they say, like the Guardians of because again, Sylvester Stallone and them, they were the Guardians before they were, so maybe it's like a mantra in space or something.
I was just my mouth was on the floor when this scene happened.
Yeah, this is great. This is great.
This is
What are you
one
doing?
of my favorite scenes in the MCU. These last 5 minutes. This 5 minutes right here.
I know.
So good.
This is a great villain defeat moment.
I love this right here so much.
Oh yeah. Come on, take it back.
It's so great because I think of some of the more bigger hits, right? We love Wonder Woman, but we always talk about the third act. You know, Black Panther, we talk about the third act, and it's a CGI fest. Suicide Squad, CGI fest, but you just have a dance off.
I love it, dude.
Third act of the film is a dance
Save
off.
the universe.
James Gunn,
bro. Me and you.
But you know what? It's because it fits the movie and it fits the tone. I think that's what
100%. Yeah,
take it back.
Yeah, and when you're talking about Wonder Woman and Black Panther, those last
try that
don't exactly fit the rest.
You
of
try
the
that
movie.
in Justice League or Batman v Superman? No, that wouldn't work.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would have been epic. Dance off between Batman and Superman. Are you kidding me?
No,
absolutely. Martha dance off.
Martha dance off.
Martha.
This is so cool right here. This scene is just so powerful.
It's epic.
Like how all the Guardians just come together.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
I just forget how much. And one of one of the best looking scenes inside the MCU.
Yeah.
Like the purple flying around, you know, and it's like it's great.
Yeah. I don't know. I have some weird feeling that James Gunn's gonna have
Yeah,
a
you
call
need the
back.
score in here. Just makes
I
it
think
more
he's gonna
epic.
have something like this in his next film, like one of the Guardians doing like a ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah,
group.
I think it's gonna be Rocket or Drax.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Rocket. And if it's I'm gonna break my heart if it's Rocket.
Yeah. I
Same.
think the third one's going to be really rock centric. I think he's going to be like the vocal point of that film.
That I think if he is, it would make sense for him to die for the Guardians, stand up for the Guardians, or something.
Yeah.
That's his family.
Yeah, it's a great scene here.
Like in Endgame when Rocket smacks Thor, you know, he's like, I lost the only family I ever had. Groot, Quill, the chick with the antennas, you know.
You gotta love Rocket.
Just say, I am Rocket Raccoon. Snap his fingers.
I think this has the best
That would have been
marketing.
actually pretty cool, right?
This has the best marketing in the whole MCU.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It cuts out like most of the comedy. Like you don't expect a lot of like Drax. Like you don't expect him to say, "Why did I put a finger on his throat?" I think it's great.
It's great.
God, it's beautiful, man. I want a poster that has those four like all touching together, holding the Power Stone. I wanted that poster. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Dope.
God, it's beautiful, man. It's gorgeous.
We got Mac. Movie reviews. This film is awesome. Soundtrack. Hook me like a baby. Yeah, the soundtrack. We out there. It's so dope.
Hooked on a feeling.
Film Explorer read an article today that Captain Marvel will be set in the present day. That's we'll definitely get to that a little bit later. Film Explorer in regards to the future of the cinematic, the MCU.
I love how Yondu in the first film, I could not stand him, but in the second film, it's like almost like kind of his movie in a way. He's like one of the main characters in that, you know, and I'm Mary Poppins and all that, but exactly.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But this first film,
he may have been your daddy, boy, but he ain't your daddy.
Yeah, that was. I remember too the marketing, or at least the theories of who was Peter Quill's dad before we ultimately got the incredible Kurt Russell coming in to play Ego. But that was a big mystery for a while. Some people were thinking it was Thanos. Some people thought it was
a jackass.
What was the one theory? I think there was some Reddit thread that thought that Captain America was going to be Peter Quill's dad because his mom in this movie was actually in the first Captain America. He was in the Captain America movie, the actress. Like, it wasn't the same character, but the same actress was in the first Avenger. And people assumed like maybe Cap had like a one-night stand with her. And it was like revealed that even though that time-wise didn't make any sense, that he would have been probably 70 years old if that was the case. But
yeah, I just got to that. I never noticed that. I'm at the part where they just said like, "Thank God we didn't deliver him to his daddy like we was hired to." Like, so that set it up perfectly. You know, I just noticed that for the first time.
I know a lot of people aren't a fan of Ego, but I thought Ego was pretty cool as a villain.
Ego's. I really enjoy Ego.
Yeah,
I loved Ego, man.
Yeah,
and like in the first, especially in the beginning, when the whole army's after him, he's like, it's a little tiny man. He's on the ship, and everyone blows up. That was really cool. And he's playing catch with Quill. That's awesome to me, man. I thought that was really like
Kurt Russell. You can't go wrong with Kurt, right?
Kurt Russell's amazing.
Amazing actor.
Man.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
Again.
Miracle.
Again. Yeah.
What are some of the sort of Guardians? Yeah. What are they? Sort of. Yeah, that's a great line.
It's so sad to see Rocket here too. Like, it just shows like all the depth Rocket has, how much he cares for Groot. It's so sad.
Was he isn't that the line from Infinity War when Groot dies? It's like he's saying like it translates to dad or something when he was being dusted away.
Yeah. That makes it even sadder. It's like Groot, no.
So gut wrenching.
Yeah. That scene in the theater, man, I never experienced like that again. That was perfection.
For sure. And they leave you little breadcrumbs. Don't give you too much. Leave you wanting to know who his dad is.
Yep. See you next year. We'll make another $1 billion movie.
Yeah. Ronan was only a puppet. It's only Thanos we need to kill.
You guys ever seen Glenn Close in 101 Dalmatians? I know it's off topic, but that's like the only thing other thing I've seen her in besides this.
Yes.
Air Force One.
Oh, she's in that?
Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you imagine Glenn Close reading the script for this? What is this?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show again the power of Marvel. All these like maybe high regarded actors. I think of Robert Redford and Captain America: Winter Soldier. You think of just great actors that want to be a part of this franchise and just have fun.
Angela Bassett,
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Yeah, exactly.
Now Christian Bale's coming, right?
Yeah. He's gonna be in. Yeah,
Thor:
man.
Love and Thunder, man.
He's amazing. I love Christian Bale. One of the best working today.
That's very exciting.
We just need a Hugh Jackman. That's what I want to see.
I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see.
I want to see
Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Ryan Gosling. I want to see Ryan Gosling in an MCU movie.
Did you hear him,
I
Trevor?
agree to that,
His
Ryan.
question. You want to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine or another character?
I think it'd be cool to see him as another character. I really do.
Yeah.
Like maybe not a huge role, but go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think that would cause too much, not trouble to the comic moviegoer, but like it would confuse a lot of people who aren't like that into, movie going experience, all that stuff.
Yeah.
True.
Probably. It would still be cool to see him. Maybe even a cameo of him or something, like how they did. What was the one where he's barely in the X-Men movie?
First class.
Yeah, he goes meet him and he tells him to F off. It's
Go F yourself.
Amazing. Yeah.
Something like that would be hilarious. But
yeah. Or even maybe a Leo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt one day. I know they wouldn't, but that'd be just so cool to see one of them in there.
I mean,
hey man,
we got Matt Damon as Loki.
Never
in Ragnarok.
Yeah, Matt Damon's cameo.
We got Matt
done.
Damon, so
yeah, that's hilarious.
You never know. Because it can be just a small role, just like we saw Brad Pitt and Deadpool 2. It can just be a really small little cameo.
I feel like Leo would never do that.
No, Leo, like 20 million or nothing. How about that?
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis in the MCU.
Oh my gosh.
I always said this: Javier Bardem
Yeah, that'd be good.
as
Great
Galactus.
film.
And he could do it because he's been in Pirates. He was Captain Salazar.
Plays some of the best villains. Anton
Yeah,
Chigurh.
it was.
Yes.
Yeah, I still can't decide who's the better villain of the 2000s: Heath Ledger's Joker or him. It's like those two neck and neck.
Those are the two best.
What about a Hans Landa?
Yeah,
Hans Landa, that's a good one.
That's three of them. Yeah.
Hans Landa's fantastic.
The only flaw I didn't like between the movies is that in the second, they took away the most shocking part for me about the last scene, that the fact that Peter was immortal holding the stone. Yeah, that's a good point. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, easily the best soundtrack of any Marvel film, bar none.
Easily.
True.
Not even an argument.
Yeah.
Do you like this soundtrack better or the second one? Volume 2 or Volume 1?
I didn't like the set. I don't like it as much as the first one.
Yeah, first one for me.
I like. I'm a big Fleetwood Mac fan, so I like the use
Second
of the chain, especially in that first trailer they did. That was an amazing trailer for that movie.
I mean, I'm excited to see what this third one's the soundtrack's going to be for that. See what Guns pulls.
I know. Where are we going to go, you know? I never understood the scene. Like, why does it show John C. Reilly go home? Like, you know? I don't know.
Hey, man, maybe he's another character to come back in the third one.
I think because, like, he wasn't like a huge part in the movie, and then it shows him going home with his family, you know?
Because you know his family's probably dead if he's not dead too. I mean, who knows what could have come.
Yeah.
Well, he did mention like I have a family; they're alive because I just wanted to show it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
ABC love Jackson 5.
I mean, I know they would never cast John C. Reilly as Nova Corps, like Nova, but I mean that could be a great little origin story. Like he lost his family, and that's kind of how he kind of became a Nova character.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I mean, maybe they could recast him, and we won't notice that they recast someone to play that role.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, man.
It's
All
really
right.
green.
The Galaxy. That's it. Will return.
So before we head out, I got a couple other questions I want to pose to the panel as well as the people in the chat. We talked about it in the movie, but I'm just kind of curious now, guys. And we got our first post-credit scene here, but we're just curious. Starting with Trevor, man. I know we all have our letter boxes and our ranking videos, but just kind of curious. Starting with Trevor, man. Top 5 MCU films. Films.
Oh, all right.
Films.
I'm gonna go. Avengers Infinity War. I've seen that movie like 50 times, no lie. Avengers Endgame, just that the third act alone in Endgame kills me every time. Then I'm gonna probably have to go Civil War, Guardians, and Winter Soldier. That's my top 5.
Okay. Chris, what about you, my friend?
Number 1, I go Endgame. 2, Infinity War. 3 is the first Iron Man. I love that movie to death.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Civil War and Winter Soldier.
Solid. Kristen, what about you? Top 5?
What was it? Top 5?
Yeah, top 5.
Okay, sorry, it got cut out. Probably number 1 is no doubt Endgame. Number 2 would probably have to be Winter Soldier, and then 3 Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 4, Civil War, and number 5. Oof, see now it's tough. Maybe I'll just say Ant-Man because that's the first one. That's like one of my favorites that comes to my mind.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, Ryan, what about you, my friend? What's your top 5 MCU film?
1, Endgame. 2, Infinity War. 3, Winter Soldier. 4, Civil War. 5, Avengers.
Nice.
First Avengers is great.
Guardians is number 6.
Number 6. Okay.
Number 6.
All right, Ken, what about you, man? Top 5 MCU for you?
My top 2 could vary depending on like what day you ask me, but my number 1 as of today is Winter Soldier. Number 2 is Infinity War. 3, Thor Ragnarok. 4, Civil War, and 5, Captain America: The First Avenger.
Wow.
Nice.
No love for Endgame.
Yeah.
Endgames would probably be number 6.
Okay.
Number 6.
I think that's the first time I
do love
heard
Endgame.
Winter Soldier at number 1. That's dope.
Yeah. It's a great movie. I mean, it's
is.
I love Infinity War for the spectacle. I love Winter Soldier for just how grounded it is, and it definitely has the best action of any of them. At least in
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys got some.
And that
some great
elevator
news.
scene is just epic.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Does anyone want to get out?
Brilliant.
Cat, man.
It's got the
Such a
best
badass.
hand-to-hand choreography.
Oh yeah, that fight in the streets, him and Winter Soldier.
the freeway scene.
Combat. Yeah,
That's excellent.
love
Mind blown.
it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, as far as my top 5, Guardians is actually in my top 5. Is number 5 for me. Right below that it is Civil War, but 4 for me. I know it gets its flaws for the third act, but Black Panther is I just love that film. From this the messaging behind it. Michael B. Jordan is Killmonger. I just love Black Panther and so excited for the sequel. Winter Soldier is number 3, Endgame's number 2, and then Infinity War is my favorite MCU film. I love Infinity War. It's my jam. But some great lists again. Everyone that's still in the chat, let us know you guys' top 5 as well. And since we just finished up, like I said, this is my top 5, number 5 for me. But just kind of roundtable style, starting with Trevor, man. Final thoughts on Guardians? Does it still stick the landing for you? And how does it? 6 years later, how do you think about this film?
I think 6 years later, every time I watch it, it's like fine wine. The older it gets you, I don't drink wine, but I hear the older it gets, the better it tastes. So I can use that saying with Guardians. I love this movie so much, and every time I watch it, it just reminds me what I love about it, and then I ended up loving it even more. Like I noticed things I never noticed before this time around. I love it so much, man. It's awesome thanks for having me on to do this because it's really cool to be able to watch it again.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Chris, same for you, man. Just kind of final thoughts 6 years later. Does it still hold for you, or there's any flaws that maybe point out to you?
It's just such a fun time. And while
Yeah.
it's not one, like I said earlier, it's not one that I personally rewatch the most.
Mhm.
It is still a rewatchable film. It's just not one that I choose to revisit as much. And I said this at the beginning, best soundtrack in the, not only the MCU, but perhaps in any movie. It's one of my favorite movie soundtracks ever.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see the future of these characters in Phase 4 and maybe beyond that.
No doubt. Kristen, what about you? Kind of final thoughts from you for Guardians of the Galaxy 6-year anniversary today.
Well, I absolutely agree with Chris and Trevor just had to say. It's totally rewatchable, and I actually rewatched this film this past week, and it gave me all the reasons why I fell in love with the Guardians in the first place, and it brought me back to the time where I first saw it in the theater and just loving it.
Yeah.
And like the more I see, I know where its flaws are. I still don't care because the film is just so great for what it is, and especially for its storytelling. And James Gunn is like what we talked about earlier tonight, and it's just so good. I just can't get enough of it. I just like, it's just so good. I can't get enough of it. It's so good.
I hear you.
But,
I hear you. Same with you, Ryan. This celebrating the 6-year anniversary, does it still hold up for you?
6 years later, it holds up in every way. It gets better on rewatch. It's the most rewatchable MCU movie for me. I've seen it the most times. If you want every emotion, you want to laugh, you want to cry, and feel epic, Guardians has all those emotions mixed into one. James Gunn created something special with these characters now, and I love it every time I watch it, and yeah, it's amazing.
Well said, man. Ken, MidLevelMedia reviews, man. What's your thoughts on 6-year anniversary, man?
Yeah, man, I love the movie. Like I said, it took me a while to come around on it. The first time I watched it, I didn't love it until like right before Guardians 2 came out. But yeah, it's a great film. It's great comedic moments, great characters. The music is awesome, like the score and the soundtrack. And yeah, it's just a hell of a good time. So it would probably rank in my top 10. If we were going out that far, it'd probably be like number 8 or 9. Yeah, it's definitely top tier for me.
Awesome. Yeah, and just my final thoughts on it. You guys pretty much hit the nail on the coffin as we get our last kind of post-credit scene here, which is very funny. But yeah, I think you guys said it perfectly. When you want to have a good laugh, you want to have a good emotional moments, great time with a soundtrack, meet some really cool, interesting characters. And the future's still bright for this franchise. Still has a lot of life left in it. So, yeah, this film, like I said, is my number 5 film of the MCU. It's just a great movie. Has a lot of heart, that's something I always look for in a film. It's just the emotional beats, right? Does it resonate with you? Does it sit with you? And this film definitely does that for me personally. So 6 years later, I can't believe it's been 6 years since this film has came out. It still feels brand new to me. And I'm again kind of segues into this next question for and everyone in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's a perfect segue into the future of this franchise, which again we'll start off with Ken. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, man. You know, I put a couple names in there: Adam Warlock, Nova, as Guardians of the Galaxy. What do you think we'll get? What do you want to see? We kind of hinted at someone might die. You know, we might have a different group after the end of the film. But what's kind of your hopes and dreams for Guardians 3 whenever we get it in the next 3 or 4 years?
First off, I just want to ask, not to derail anybody, because I know we have a younger panel here. Has anybody actually seen the Howard the Duck movie?
But I know a lot about it.
No desire.
It's it was a weird movie that I watched in my childhood. But anyway, back to Guardians 3. Yeah, I just I don't get really deep into like the lore of the comic books and stuff. I have not read any comic books. I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy was until I watched the first movie. But yeah, I just hope that James Gunn brings the same passion and flair that he did with the first two back to that third one, and it hits. I liked Guardians 2 a lot, obviously not more than Doctor Strange, as we talked about in our live stream. But it's I hope he brings back a little bit more of that. I don't know, like I don't know. The second one seemed like he kind of lost his way a little bit with the characters in the film. Kind of went off the rails a little bit. I don't know. I hope he grounds it just a little bit more and brings it back to the basics for the third one.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting too.
Makes it a little bit more about the characters.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, James Gunn wrote this film, I think, when his father had passed away, or this film was like dedicated to his father, because obviously that Peter Quill and father relationship. But no, I kind of get what you're saying though with that.
It feels a lot more personal, and it feels a lot more character driven than the second one does. That makes any sense.
For sure. Yeah, Kristen, same question for you in regarding to whenever we see it. I don't know if it's going to be a phase. I think it's in phase 4 or if not phase 5, but what do you hope to see in a Guardians 3?
Well, the one thing is just seeing how Adam Warlock is going to just fit into that whole final, I guess, story of what we're going to see of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. And if this is the final film for these characters, since we talked about earlier, one will probably will die. I just hope it just sends a good send-off message. That's all I'm hoping for. I'm not too concerned about Nova and whatever else going on. I just want to know about Adam and just a good send-off. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, I mean it's a great point. I mean, I know that the rumblings that Christian Bale may be Bitterweight Bill, maybe a CGI character, but he would be a great Adam Warlock, and we're getting Thor before we're getting Guardians 3, so that would be a great introduction to that character. But Ryan, man, same question for you. What do you hope to see in a Guardians 3?
I want Adam Warlock. It's going to give us Adam Warlock for sure. I want more of the Valkyries as well. I think that'd be pretty cool with Tessa Thompson. Just more exploration for the characters, more better all around Drax. Just what they're going to do with Gamora as well. 2014 Gamora, obviously. She doesn't have the Gamora from Infinity War died. And so I would love to see that get more explored. Just more of the older Guardians with Stallone. I think that'll be a cool send off, and I do think we are going to get tragic deaths for sure, like we talked about with certain characters. I'm just really looking forward to Guardians 3. I hope it's even more epic than the other two.
No doubt. Yeah, same with you, Chris, regarding just kind of, again, not going into the film with like a checklist of things you want to see, but if you were to, have some fan theories or some things you would like to see, what would those be for Guardians 3?
Well, I would just, first of all, before I say anything, I want to see another killer soundtrack because that's something that I look for in every Guardians movie. But yeah, I would like to see hints of Thor in here. I think that he is would be hilarious. Like you said, as Guardians of the Galaxy would be awesome. But like everyone here seems to have said, I would like to see Adam Warlock because they teased him in the after credits, one of the many after credit scenes of Guardians 2. But that's what I would like to see. All that people have already touched on it, but I trust James Gunn and Marvel, so I'm sure it's going to be a great time. Definitely.
And then Trevor, man, what's on the wish list, man, of things to hopefully to see in the third trilogy?
I'm trying to see the Asgardians of the Galaxy, man. That's what I want. I want it so bad, and I think that would make for, honestly, the best movie in a way. Maybe not make, like, the Asgardian part, like the Thor and all them, like the main focal point, but have them in there and then basically have Quill and maybe Thor almost both fighting for the love of Gamora, the affection of Gamora, because Quill now doesn't have, obviously, he has to woo her again. And in Endgame, she wasn't all that impressed. And she goes, really? This was him? And then his line, like, it was between him or a tree. So it would be really cool to see just some obviously funny banter, our characters back. I want that emotional punch. I want a great soundtrack, but I want the Asgardians of the Galaxy on the screen altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much where everyone else is on the panel in regards to the soundtrack being great, giving a great send-off to maybe the last time we see these characters, hoping to find out more about Rocket and the creation of him and maybe how him and Groot became good friends and how they met with each other. So I'm looking to get maybe a little bit more backstory on the characters. And then again, these new characters, Valkyrie, maybe getting her in the mix. And I think by the time Guardians 3 is out, I don't think Miss Marvel will be out, but I think Miss Marvel will be a great introduction to that character and maybe bringing in Captain Marvel into the mix. I know a lot of people don't think she's the most friendliest superhero or Avenger, so maybe getting her mixed into the group for a little bit would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think Chris Hemsworth, making at least a cameo or at least maybe the first 10, 15 minutes, they're doing like some kind of mission together for whatever the end result is, because we're going to get Love and Thunder before we get this film. So whatever happens in that film maybe carries over to Guardians in the future. But I'm really excited for James Gunn's back, the crew's back, and I'm really excited to see what they have for us whenever that film comes out, which is the last question that I have for the panel for everyone in the chat. When it comes to the future of the MCU, guys, we know that a lot of these films, unfortunately, with everything in the world, with COVID, we were supposed to see Black Widow at this point. We're supposed to be gearing up for the Eternals, but unfortunately, things have changed. So I'm just kind of curious on the kind of the list of films here, guys. I just want to know you guys' like excitement level for these films. What's your most anticipated film, and what are you looking forward to when it comes to Phase 4? Starting with Trevor.
Black Widow to me looks fantastic. I'm really excited about Florence Pugh in there. But for me, the big standout's going to be Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, man. Sam Raimi's in there. I'm just hoping we get maybe Multiverse Spider-Man kind of thrown in there. Just maybe. Play with me here, guys. It would be really cool to see. Shang-Chi and Eternals, quite frankly, I don't know anything about them. Like, you guys are talking about the Eternals we got to see in the Guardians, so that's pretty much the first time I noticed them. And Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, I'm not too familiar with it. But Thor: Love and Thunder as well. It's going to be great. And Captain Marvel 2, hopefully it's better than the first one. And Black Panther 2, to me, Black Panther is slightly overrated. I need to go back and revisit it. Sorry, Elliot, don't want to burst your bubble. No, but I need to go back and revisit Black Panther 2 for sure. But I would say it looks good. It looks interesting. It looks different. And I'm excited about the route they're going.
Yeah, I mean, this is in the same quest for you, Chris. I mean, you got Black Widow finally getting a film. You're getting like the Eternals, kind of like the Guardians in this phase. The same with Shang-Chi, and then you got a couple sequels in there. Well, we're getting literally 1, 2, 3, 4 sequels back to back to back to back. So, just kind of curious on your thoughts on the future and what's got you most excited, man.
So I'm actually most excited for Spider-Man 3, and I think that comes out in this phase. I don't know if it's on this graphic. I think it comes out in the November now of 2021. I'm not really sure.
I think they said
December.
December. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm most excited for that because of the Far From Home post-credit scene that completely changed the game for the future of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And I want to see if Mysterio is still alive. I want all the answers. So that's what has piqued my interest. Is a new Spider-Man film because I love the character, but I want to see if they. Well, I genuinely have no idea how they're even going to tackle it. It's the first time that I've besides the Infinity War ending, where I'm like, how the heck are they just going to handle this whole thing? So I'd go with Spider-Man 3, but also the TV shows. I'm very pumped for those, especially Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, TV, as you all might know, I'm a big TV guy, so I'm really excited to see what they do with the TV universe. But yeah, same question for you, Ryan, in regards to just kind of the future of the MCU and what movie are you most anticipating? And like Chris said, Spider-Man isn't on this list. I think, Sony, so they didn't put it on here or whatever. We still got Blade. I don't know if Blade's going to be a part of this particular phase or a phase of movies. But yeah, just what's your excitement level, man, for these films?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm most excited for Black Panther 2. I really enjoyed the first Black Panther. Ryan Coogler's returning to direct, so that gets me pumped. Black Widow, I am excited for it for sure. It's the start to Phase 4. We'll see what they're going to do with the future with Florence Pugh as Yelena. But the Eternals has me really interested in it. I'm really excited to see Kit Harington as Black Knight. Love him in Game of Thrones. Cersei as well. They have a huge future for the Avengers in the comic book storyline, her and Black Knight. That'll be cool. Shang-Chi, that's probably my least most anticipated because I don't know anything about the character. We shall see. And I heard Michelle Yeoh was supposedly cast in Shang-Chi. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I think that has been confirmed. Yeah, yesterday.
Doctor Strange, I'm very excited for that. Even though I thought the first Doctor Strange was overrated, I'm really interested in what Sam Raimi does with the sequel. Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm mainly excited because of Christian Bale. Give me that. And then Captain Marvel, not as excited, but yeah, it looks great. And the TV shows, come on.
Yeah, the TV shows
are going to be great. They're going to be great.
Really, really awesome. Kristen, as far as this list here, what's got you most excited for this new phase of films?
Let's see. Okay, so I'm excited to see what the fate is going to be for Black Widow and to finally get her standalone film, which she deserved to have for a very long time, and see Florence Pugh handed over the baton to say, here you go, girl, finish up, do my job now. Eternals, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not too psyched that, Angelina Jolie is attached to the project. And Salma Hayek, I'm like, it's like a hit or miss for me when I was hearing some of the stuff. Shang-Chi, I don't know too much about the property, nor am I familiar with it. So maybe it'll be good. I'm hoping that it is. I will see it. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that's the one I'm really excited for the most. And like what Trevor was saying earlier, Sam Raimi's going to direct it because I love the Spider-Man films. I there holds a special place in my heart growing up. So seeing how he's gonna like handle this, like almost like a horror kind of thing, like that was like mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because I remember hearing that, and then
Yeah.
even Scarlet Witch, like even attached to the project, being like this evil, you know, kind of like bad guy for the project. It's got. I'm very, very interested. Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know. I'm not happy that Natalie Portman came back. I'm not too thrilled about that. I just don't. Personally, I don't care for this. I don't think she deserved to come back, knowing that what she said about MCU and her thoughts about it. Personally, I think it's a money thing, so I'm not too psyched about seeing that. Black Panther, pretty good film, a little overrated in some parts, but I'll see the sequel. And Captain Marvel is such a hard pass, so I'm like a little iffy on this phase. I think what's really pulling me is the TV shows, like that was mentioned, and Doctor Strange. So hoping for a good phase, but I don't know, man.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, if history has repeated itself, we might be in for a good phase. But Ken, man, curious as far as what film on this list got you excited, and I guess what's your least anticipated film from this list?
I mean, this is a strong list, to be honest. There's a lot of films on here I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I wasn't really looking forward to Black Widow that much until I saw like the first trailer and what they were going for. And Rachel Weisz is like one of my favorite actresses, so I'm excited to see her in it. I'm sure Florence Pugh will make some crying faces and pouty faces, and it'll be good. But Eternals and Shang-Chi, I don't really know a lot about, so my excitement's a little bit tempered there. But Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I'm a little upset that Scott Derrickson didn't get to continue on, because I did really like the first Doctor Strange a lot, but them announcing Sam Raimi like made it all better for me, because I'm sure he'll bring that same Raimi flair. And if they actually do what I hope they do and do some like Spider-Man cameos with maybe Tobey Maguire, that would be awesome. But Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm kind of on the fence about it, only because of Natalie Portman, like you said. I don't think Natalie Portman does really well in like big budget movies. She hasn't really.
Yes.
She's always great in like independent films, but she doesn't seem to like care enough about the big budget stuff to really give it her all. And like I said, I hate the first Thor movie, and a lot of that has to do with her and Kristen Hemsworth's chemistry in it. But yeah, it's also directed by Taika Waititi, so I trust that he's gonna pull something out of her to make it at least entertaining. So, and Christian Bale cast in it is also great. And Black Panther, I'm super excited for that. That might be the one I'm most excited for, because I feel like Ryan Coogler is going to get more free reign over that film than he did with the first one. And like I know people complain about the third act. The first one I do too. I don't know if that was his full vision. I don't know if he would have had that if he would have had full reign over that movie. And like I think you've said it before, Movie Files, like I'm looking forward to this one being kind of like Black Panther's Winter Soldier movie, and then really diving into the character. And I mean, like Creed's like one of my favorite movies. It's my favorite Rocky movie. I think Ryan Coogler just going head on into this character, I think he's going to do awesome things with it.
I think it's my favorite too.
Yeah, it's just incredible. But Captain Marvel 2, I didn't hate the first one, but it's incredibly bland and mediocre as far as Marvel, so they have to show me something with that first trailer for me to get excited for it. But
I mean, you guys, you pretty much summed it up perfectly. I think for me, Black Widow, there has to be a reason why she's kicking off this new phase, whether it be Taskmaster and maybe the Thunderbolts coming together at the end of the post-credit scene, Zemo, the Abomination coming back, and they're going to be kind of the plantings of seeds for Avengers 5 being like kind of a. We have always had one main villain, but I think Avengers 5, we're going to have multiple villains coming across the board. So I think Black Widow is going to set that stage. The Eternals, I'm really excited for, just because I think it reminds me a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of people aren't too familiar with these characters. I think the cast, I'm going to bring up the cast here in a bit here for the Eternals. I think this cast is great, diverse, unique backgrounds. I will say I would have loved to see maybe Charlize Theron maybe play the role.
Yeah.
As Angelina Jolie. I think she is such an incredible action hero, but she's doing her own thing now with the old guard. I think she's going to make that her kind of comic book franchise. But I'm really excited for the Eternals. Again, as Ryan said, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, so seeing
both Stark brothers,
coming reuniting, and Don Lee for my Korean fans out there for Korean cinema, Train to Busan, he's such a great actor. So and Kumail Nanjiani, I mean, the guy got so fit. I mean, you got to see it just to see how fit he is in the film. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
For the role, but I'm really, really interested to see what they do with the Eternals, because I think they're going to set the stage to Deviants. We might get a Thanos backstory, potentially seeing him as a young man. I think there's a lot of potentiality with the Eternals, but I think out of that list, I think the Black Panther 2 is the one I'm really geeked for, just for the simple fact that a lot of the rumors out there is that this might be the movie that might introduce some X-Men, such as, Namor is technically an X-Men, seeing like the Aquaman of the MCU enter there, and Atlantis versus Wakanda is such an epic film. But like Ken said, I really want them to focus on Black Panther, T'Challa, and getting him more screen time, because I think out of the first Black Panther, we think of Michael B. Jordan, we think of, all the supporting casters are so great. So I hope they give him a lot to do in this one. But I know a lot of people were kind of down and out on Captain Marvel too, but Secret Wars might be something they might introduce there, or we got the Skrulls and seeing them infiltrate SHIELD or SWORD, the Intergalactic Space Force out there. So I think Captain Marvel 2 has a lot to live up to. I just hope they get a great director that could bring something out of Brie Larson, because she's a Oscar-nominated actress. So hopefully we can get that. Yeah, and I know a lot of people, you guys have been kind of down on Natalie Portman. Yes, it is very true that she doesn't do well in big blockbuster films, but we also, no offense to George Lucas, and no offense to Kenneth Branagh and Alan Taylor that directed Thor 2. I just don't think those directors pulled out the best of Natalie Portman. I think Taika Waititi can do that. And I think that's one of the big reasons why she's coming back to the franchise, because she's such a big fan of Taika Waititi. So I think we all said it. Christian Bale, I mean, he's one of the best doing it and working alive. I would love to see maybe Adam Driver now that Christian Bale's in MCU. Get Adam Driver in the MCU somehow now, because those are like my two top actors right now. But Phase 4 is looking good, guys. For me personally, I'm excited to see what they bring us. And then again, you guys mentioned TV shows, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, Moonlight. We're getting Miss Marvel. We're getting She-Hulk. I mean, there's so much that they can do with this next phase. So fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed that they live up to what we gotten so far in the MCU, which I'm.
If we're talking Phase 5, like Blade's right here.
Blade. I was just about to say the same thing. Mahershala Ali, that's all I need to hear.
Yeah, and then I cannot wait to see what they do with Blade and see the more supernatural werewolves and vampires and just all that stuff.
After I watched True Detective season 3, like Mahershala Ali's like one of, if not my favorite actors working today.
Yeah, he's top 3 for me.
Completely blew me away in that show.
He's amazing.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. We talked about Doctor Strange. Maybe that's a good way to kind of maybe bring him into the universe.
Yes.
Have a little,
also, can I say?
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I really hope Jonah Jameson makes a cameo in Doctor Strange too. Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell as well. I mean, it's Sam Raimi. You got to find ways to get
Bruce will be in there for sure.
No doubt, man.
Yes.
I guess another thing too is this something, obviously we got to thank Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. I wonder who's going to be the next Stan Lee type of appearance in the next phases of the MCU. That'd be really cool. Maybe that's where Deadpool comes in. Deadpool is like the next Stan Lee in the MCU. He makes appearances in all the films, like background wise. That would be pretty cool. But either way, I think the future's looking bright for the MCU. But speaking of bright, the panel that I had tonight is such a great group of people. I thank you guys for joining me tonight for this watch along, this talk along, this movie night that we were able to share together. Really appreciate it. So saying goodbye to everyone. I'm going to have, starting with Trevor, man. I'm going to leave the stage for you, man. Let the people know where they can find you, what's the next review, next ranking list, next whatever, the great content that you have on your channel, man. What's the next thing we can expect from you, man?
I'm working on. Well, first off, I want to say thank you so much for having me on, dude. I've been a big fan of yours for probably over a year now. When I kind of met you on YouTube, so I appreciate you having me on, man. This has been awesome. And I'm trying to finish Umbrella Academy season 2 tonight, so I can have a review for that tomorrow. Chris and I have something big dropping on Monday. I'll let him reveal it if he wants to. And I do Lord of the Rings content, movie-related content, hopping more into Netflix lately, and that's all kind of coming in the works. So that's about it for me.
Awesome, man. Can't wait to see all that awesome content you have loaded for us, Trevor. And we're definitely going to have you on one of these streams again, man, because
heck yeah, dude.
Man, for sure.
I appreciate it, man.
No doubt, man. Film Stock Chris, man, where can the people find you, and what can we expect from your awesome content coming up soon, man?
Yeah. Well, first, I did want to say thank you very, very much, Elliot. This was a pleasure. One of the first people I met on Instagram years ago, and now in the YouTube community. So that's just awesome. You can find me on YouTube at Filmstocked. Trevor and I actually have a podcast coming out on Monday.
Yeah.
First episode ever. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for the future of that and the channel in general. You can find me on Instagram at Filmstocked, as well as Letterboxd. I review everything that I watch, so at Filmstock on Letterboxd, and then on Twitter at ChrisBowie15. I'm kind of active there, not really, but you can still find me there nonetheless. And thank you again, Elliot. I had a blast.
No doubt, man. I can't wait to see you and Trevor in the podcast and seeing all your great conversations, guys. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. So, Ryan O'Toole, man, where can we find you, man? What can we expect from you next? What kind of top 5 rankings can we get? What kind of videos can we expect from your channel coming up soon, man?
Yeah, Elliot, thank you, man. As soon as you posted you're doing a Guardians watch on, I jumped on that right away. Yeah, it's a pleasure, man, to be on your channel. We had you on the Fallen for Film podcast a couple months ago. It was an absolute blast, man. Looking forward to doing more collabs in the future with you. You guys once again can find me at Ryan O'Toole on YouTube, Ryan O'Toole MR on Twitter, Letterboxd Ryan O'Toole Movies, and Instagram Ryan O'Toole Movies. Like I said, I do a podcast with my buddy Colin Williams called the Fallen for Film podcast. We dive into all the newest trends in movie news, have guests on. Elliot's been on, Chris has been on. I know Trevor and you guys, we got to get you on at some point. For videos, I just uploaded my Indiana Jones ranking. Some other videos that's coming out. The new SpongeBob movie comes out this week. The Tax Collector with David Ayer. Possibly thinking of doing a top 10 A24 movies at some point. I don't know when, but look forward to that. As far as that, I need to think of some ideas. That's what I have. Probably do another Q&A as well. If any of you guys want to join, you're more than welcome. But yeah, that's about it. But thank you, Elliot. This was a blast.
No doubt, man. Looking forward to all that awesome content coming to us pretty soon. So, Miss Film Migo, I'm going to have you on next week, I think, or
I think 2 weeks for whenever Harley Quinn is.
I'm a big fan of yours. So she will be back, ladies and gentlemen, in a couple weeks. But tell the people where they can find you. What do you and Mac have cooked up as far as the podcast and all that good stuff?
Yeah, everyone can follow me on Instagram at Miss Filmingo. I am also on Twitter at KFilmingo. Co-host on the podcast, and we have all of you on. So please feel free to message me, and we would love to have you on the show. And thank you. This was a really fun night. I got to meet some new people, and I actually live stream with you. It was a lot of fun. Have a good night, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, can't wait to have you back on to talk some Birds of Prey. But last but not least, we got Mid-Level Ken. What's the next, Blu-ray haul or the next, media report?
Physical media report. Well, the physical media report drops on Mondays at 3:00, where I run down all the new physical media coming out for the week. But yeah, first off, Elliot, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your channel. I've been subscribed to you probably for almost 3 years now. You're one of the first people I met on Instagram when I started doing this stuff. You're an inspiration. You and other reviewers inspired me to get on here and do this kind of stuff. So thank you for having me on. And yeah, guys, you can follow me at Mid-Level Movie Reviews on Instagram and MidLevelMedia on Instagram, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel where I do 4K unboxings and reviews, and I do my weekly physical media report. And also, I'm one half of Levels of Geek. I think my partner's in the chat right now, Ultra HD Geek. We go live every Monday and Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and just talk about the news topics of the day, and just have a fun time with it. So again, thank you for having me on, Elliot, and I'll see you guys later.
Awesome. Yeah, can't wait to see all of these. Again, guys, all their links are in the description below. Make sure to subscribe, support their content, follow them, all that good stuff. They are some great people. They have a lot of great insight, and they're just great people in general. So show them some support, guys. In regards to what's next to come on the channel, of course, more reviews. Tomorrow I have my review for Beyonce's Black is King. I do my weekly recap of Perry Mason every Sunday night. I have a review coming out for what's coming out next week. Losing track of time with all this stuff.
SpongeBob, Tax Collector.
There is a horror film. I believe I'm going to die tomorrow that I got a screener for. I'm going to be checking out here soon. So that's going to be coming. And then a lot of just awesome stuff. And then next Saturday, as far as watch alongs go, I'm going to be doing a watch along for Chris's favorite film, which is Suicide Squad. That's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about that haircut. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons in the DC and all that fun stuff. So that's coming next week for the next watch along. But again, to the panel, to everyone watching this on the replay, to everyone watching this still in the stream, thank you for joining us tonight. Again, support all of our contents by subscribing, following us. Again, guys, hope to see you pretty soon on some more watch alongs. You all have been fantastic.